The game ain't hard when you got the trump card. It's all rigged and I'm calling more games than Bob Uecker. Changing the outcomes like Duke Nukem to a new future. Win some, lose some, bag some, choose none. Will the aliens come save the day? Are we going to listen to what they say? The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean and Sylvanians. Bloodlines, overtime, dragon descendants. Scripting bread and circus lizards in attendance. Serpent queens, breaking dreams, dragging me down. The underworld royalty is all about how much you can clown. I'm talking about the number 9-2. If you didn't know, well now you do.
What's up, everybody?
What's in the hearse? I am who I am. Man with a plan, where you at with the rebellion. 1 in a million, us against a billionaire reptilians. Look at the word rebellion, spells out the same as the rebellion.
Give it like 30 seconds.
Ain't living, you're dying. Well done to the skeleton. No time for the rebellion. Strawmen led by spellmen, dialectic Hegelian. Everyone's worked up, waiting for the aliens. Problem, reaction, solution, little contribution. The script tells that they cast spells like nuclear fusion, spreading confusion, lie distribution. Old as hell, ain't even some new shit.
Will the radium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium.
I guess I don't know exactly when to end it, but
Stadium, it really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians.
I guess we'll stop right there. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. What a week it has been. Joseph Aquaviva, good to see you, my friend. Obviously doing phenomenal work, getting the word, spreading it out there. All thanks to God. But Rambo, Cody, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
I can hear you too.
Awesome. Well, as we always do, knocking out the introductions first. Rambo, if you wouldn't mind letting the folks know where they can find and support you.
Yeah, thanks. I can be found at patreon.com/thetruthcodes. Only one tier, $5 a month. There is some free content. And you also have access for $5 a month to the Codebreaker community Discord server. There are some amazing decoders on the server. We're part of the community. So you'll see their decodes as well as mine and participate if you want in your own. I'm also on Instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
Thank you, Rambo. And Cody, please let us know. Where can the people find you?
Well, thanks again, AJ, for having us on, and thanks to Rambo for also coming along. Appreciate you guys both, and thank you to everyone in the chat, and welcome to all the new subscribers, because I know a lot of people are watching on YouTube, and I'm up almost 3K subscribers this month. So welcome to all the 3K new people. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this. You're in for a treat with Rambo joining along, and also me and AJ. This is where the snake eyes thing came from, essentially originated from last week. So you can find me on YouTube, and I'm streaming this also live on my channel this week at Decoding with Cody. And also, if you guys want to support the channel, do not donate to YouTube. They take a huge percentage of your donation. So the best place to do that is buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. So thank you to all the new people, and we really appreciate you all.
We appreciate you too, Codes. Shout out to Bernardo Suarez. I believe he was the comment that we saw, which kind of spurted the whole thing. So,
yep. And shout out to, again, Joseph for also helping us out, getting it out there, because he shared his video.
Oh, yeah.
and all the people that knew about this before. There was lots that knew about Snake Eyes before we found it, but it just happened to be that after our videos, that's when it started to really go around. So
Right, exactly. Waking up that next morning, it was just interesting seeing how it was being talked about everywhere. So that was pretty cool, just to see the word get out, you know. But anyways, for those that don't know me, AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. Got my Patreon and email up there for anybody who are interested in the books that I've written over the years. But without further ado, I mean, I don't know if I want to jump right into all this number stuff with Charlie Kirk and the Cubs game. that went down earlier today where the Cubs won 3-1. But I was just curious, you guys, was there anything that you guys wanted to kick off with? Rambo, I know that you said you had something for us.
I do have a excerpt from the video that I put out. I showed the intro to that video last week, just the intro. The video ended up being 50 minutes long, just about. And I don't expect that most people who did watch the video, usually people don't go 50 minutes. So what I do have this week is an excerpt, just an excerpt from the 50-minute video. And the excerpt is 2 minutes, 27 seconds, not by intention. You'll see how it just happened that way. I just did an excerpt. I said, this is a good little sample of the video, and it turned out to be 227. And you'll see the significance of that. So, yeah, so you want me to share that right now? Or
Okay.
after your...
I'm down. I mean, unless Cody, there's anything else you wanted to kick things off with. It's
No, go. Like I said, Rambo, he's got some new info that I think people will want to see. So I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
All right, so this is just an excerpt. 2 minutes, 27 seconds. I did not plan that. It's amazing how it turned out.
Isn't it interesting that the headquarters building of Apple Computer in Northern California is a circle? Like CERN, which in large part tries to find ways to transcend dimensions. The headquarters of Microsoft are in Redmond, Washington, which just so happens to be celebrated as the bicycle capital of the Northwest. This is the home of Microsoft computers. The bicycle with its two wheels like the 0000 Ozzy Osbourne, who died on the Pi date 22/7, Elliot from E.T. E.T.'s extraterrestrials know how to transcend dimensions. And what's the founding date of the bicycle capital of the Northwest? The location of the headquarters of Microsoft, Redmond, Washington. December 31st, in the year 1912, Ozzy Osbourne reported to have passed on Aston Villa fan and second in line to the British throne, Prince George's 12th birthday, 00, like the bicycle wheels, equals 12 in the reduced cipher of Gematria. December 31st is the completion of a yearly cycle. December 31st, spelled out, the founding date of Microsoft's hometown, equals 227.
Yeah, that's the excerpt. Just a few things to add. E.T. in the reverse alphabet, where you start with Z as the first letter and end with A as the 26th. E is the 22nd letter. T is the 7th. So E.T. has that 227, 22 divided by 7, which is pi, which is for measuring circles, cycles. The bicycle is such a central image in the movie E.T. This another issue besides all that's going on is UFO disclosure has been going on, and it's a really big issue. And it is something that is going to come to the forefront. Extraterrestrial, intelligent, non-human life is going to come to the forefront. And And ET, that's directly related to the cycle symbol. That's what ET is. That's why the bicycle, and this scene in ET, the bicycle scene, which is I guess the most iconic scene from the movie, that was actually reprised in Donnie Darko. This is at night. It's probably not that clear, but at night, this is right after the Halloween party. Donnie Darko this year and his friends all get on bicycles. They were actually reprising ET. And in your stream with Donut actually brought up Stranger Things 5, and there it is. This is that same scene. This is influenced by E.T. Donnie Darko borrowed from it. This is the original, and it's in Stranger Things as well, and it's all about the cycle. So yeah, that's and Charlie Kirk. So this is based on Charlie Kirk. His name Kirk. Kirk has the same etymological root as circle. Kirk and circle. So I know the name Charles, KODI and others usually focus on Charles. I'm looking at Kirk for the circle symbolism that it is referring to. So,
well, isn't it also perfect, Rambo?
Cody?
Cool.
Cody, I think you cut out there.
So did you guys hear me?
No, you cut out.
Yeah, you cut out.
No, so isn't it perfect though that Charles Kirk, freedom from the circle or freedom from the cycle, like the repeating cycle, like that's what Charles means, and that's why I believe they're using Charles, because in fact Charles, if you look at the gematria of Charles and Francis, Francis also means free man, right? Like Frank the rabbit.
Yeah.
Well, Francis and Charles actually have the same gematria, or not? It's not. It's Francis if you spell it with the E, like the feminine way you spell Francis. It equals 66, like Charles. And I believe this also has to do with Abraxas, because in gematria, Abraxas equals 66, and Abraxas in the mythology, he is he represents the 365 heavens. And he is the border between the cycles. So Abraxas, I've noticed, has that match to Charles. And something I've been kind of putting off for a long time is doing a video on Abraxas, because people have always come to my chat and said, do a video on Abraxas, do a video on Abraxas. And I've started looking into Abraxas, but I haven't found enough for a whole video yet. But I definitely think that's also another huge symbol here.
What do you think, Rambo? I would agree.
I don't know that much about Abraxas, but the 365, that's the yearly cycle as well. So you saw how,
it makes sense. No, it makes sense.
So that
Carl,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, Carl Jung was very famous for writing about Abraxas, and Carl, of course, is a form of Charles. And he says that Abraxas represents the 365, the totality of a year, every solar day. It basically, Abraxas represents every cycle of a day, because if you think about it, every day is a circle. You start and you do the same thing over and over again. Sun comes up, sun goes down. It's a circle every day. And Abraxas supposedly, according to Carl Jung and many other people, represents the totality of every day's circle, the totality of that.
And Abraxas is a rooster, and a rooster is associated with the rising sun. So a rooster is related to that cycle.
Right.
And plus the 365, that's also in the Bible. Enoch was taken up, they say. That actually story originates from ancient Sumerian mythology. The story of Enoch being taken up. But when Enoch was returned to Earth, basically, he lived to be 365 years old. In the Bible. So that's actually directly related to Enoch as well, this number 365. I'm not sure what Enoch has to do directly with the sun, but it is related to Enoch. Because that's how many years he lived. He lived to be 365 after he was taken up and then returned. And his name was changed to Metatron.
Metatron. Go ahead, AJ.
No, I'm just saying I didn't know that.
Oh,
Yeah, his name changed to Metatron after he went up. But so many people make the association with earlier texts, way earlier than the Old Testament, going back to Sumerian texts. And of course, people dispute the interpretations of the Sumerian writings. Some people feel that is a character from Sumerian mythology called Adapa, where Adapa was taken, according to some interpretations, basically to Nibiru, which is the home of the Anunnaki. And when he returned from Nibiru, they gave him some of their longevity secrets, and he lived longer. So that's it's kind of off topic somewhat, but on the topic of 365, that's how I went on that. That's it's Enoch, which could be just the version of the original Adapa from ancient Sumerian mythology. Yeah.
You know, it makes me think about what you and I were discussing regarding the Reds playing the Dodgers and the Charlie Hustle. You know, tonight is the anniversary of Pete Rose's death. And of course, his Reds are now playing against the Dodgers. And one of the more legendary Dodgers is Kirk Gibson. So you got the whole Charlie Hustle versus Kirk Gibson narrative going on. There's a lot to it because now you have Freddie Freeman, who won the World Series MVP last year, right?
Yep.
His name is Frederick Charles Freeman, and Charles means free man. So his name is like Frederick Freeman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I covered him last year in the World Series when he was taking he was a big part of the World Series last year, and that was when I first looked into this guy. And of course, I didn't realize, of course, that this would happen like later on, but now his name seems to be even more symbolic with him having the Charles and his last name is Freeman. It's double coded with the Freeman. And so I kind of think that could be going back to what I originally brought up. I really think that part of it, free from the cycle, freedoms from the cycle or the circle. So like being free of this never ending cycle of like that's what the samsara wheel is about, right? So
samsara wheel, yes, the wheel of life, and cycles in general are just an intrinsic part of just the world as a whole. And on a spiritual level, cycles as well relate to life, birth, rebirth as far as reincarnation is concerned, but also just the seasonal cycle, the sun's daily cycle. You were talking about Abraxas, the birth of the sun at dawn, high point at noon, at dusk it sets, midnight, and then it's reborn, that cycle, so it's just all about cycles. Life is about cycles in general.
Wouldn't you say that a home run in baseball is a cycle, right?
Yes, because baseball was invented. Sorry to cut you off.
No. Yeah.
Baseball was invented by the Theosophical Society of the United States. And see their logo, their emblem. What is the emblem of the Theosophical Society of the United States? Who invented baseball? It's the Ouroboros, which I put in the intro to my video, which I showed last week, the intro. I showed the Ouroboros. It's the snake eating its own tail, which is a cycle symbol which started in ancient Egypt.
Right.
And that's actually on it also has part of their emblem. It also has something else that I've talked about, which is the Om symbol in Sanskrit. And Om, which starts with the letter O, which is the cycle, which is a very profoundly sacred acoustic sound, which KODI has been talking about, the acoustics and sound. And Om is very powerful, starts with the letter O. The Theosophical Society of the United States have the Om in Sanskrit in the middle of the Ouroboros, and they invented baseball. Baseball is probably the most allegorical and esoteric sport there is, because all those esoteric elements were put into the sport. Baseball is actually about reincarnation. So the source is the dugout. That's the source of life. You step up to the plate. If you fail, you go back, and the attempt is to complete the cycle, and I don't know, you can decide what that completion of the cycle means, but it's basically self-discovery. When you're in the dugout, which is the source, you know who you are. You're omniscient. You're eternal. But when you come to Earth, which is now you're at home plate, that memory's erased. You have no idea what you used to be, which is this very powerful being of pure love, if you can handle that. Now, when you come to Earth, yeah, it's a little hard to handle. Pure love, me. Yeah, that's what you are. You're an eternal being of absolute, pure, unconditional love. That's before you come here, but you forget that. Now you're in the realm of ego, and that's what you have to do. And you're attempting to complete the cycle. That is what baseball was created by the Theosophical Society. That is exactly what baseball is about. Whether anyone believes in reincarnation or not, the Theosophical Society believes it, and that is part of baseball. So the outfield is the field of consciousness. The bases are base consciousness. So you go from base consciousness, which is just the lowest level of consciousness, where that's just ego and the material, and your personality and identity. That's base consciousness. And then awareness of who you really are on a spiritual level, you have to leave the field of consciousness. That's pretty much what a home run is. And that is what baseball's about. So if you don't make it, you go back to the source and you come back and try again until you return home. And if you remember, at the scene of Charlie Kirk's assassination ritual, it's shaped like home plate. From the aerial view, it is shaped like home plate. Baseball is very profoundly esoteric, and you have to consider who founded it, and just look at their logo, the Ouroboros snake circle eating its tail.
And I always think about the year of the snake, Kobe, the Mamba, Los Angeles, LA winning the World Series last year.
They had a snake in the dugout last year.
Yes, they did. Freddie Freeman essentially becoming Kirk Gibson 2.0, right? And KODI, with kind of your burning themes, I just thought it was interesting that after Freddie Freeman had his walk-off home run last season rather, Gibby reacts to Freddie's iconic homer saying, "I love passing the torch." So there was a bit of a flame connection there, even a year ago. Think about that. Kirk Gibson, Freddie Freeman, his middle name is Charles, which means free man. That's a lot of Freemans and Charleses. I just thought that was interesting. His eldest, by the way, his name is Charles as well, or Charlie. And it just made me think about how Cincinnati is also known as Queen City. So
on a spiritual level, esoteric level, what it would mean to be a free man is to be able to separate from ego. Once you separate from ego, you are free. And that's on a esoteric level. I don't know if there are always multiple interpretations for things. Maybe that is what they're implying here with these. Maybe, I don't know what they're implying, but that's one of the interpretations of freedom and being a free man on a spiritual level. It's separation from ego. Then you are free. When you've completely separated from your ego, like essentially die to your ego.
Yeah. It makes me think about how deep this really goes, right? Like, when does it really end?
Yeah, but you have to consider who invented baseball. It was a esoteric, spiritual society. So another member of the Theosophical Society is Pamela Travers, and she wrote Mary Poppins. And Mary Poppins, as you see it in Disney, is nothing like the original Mary Poppins. The original Mary Poppins was a series of 7 books. It's really long, and it's mostly about these ancient spiritual concepts. You wouldn't know it from what you see with Disney. Just completely removed any kind of depth to it. But she signed off to Walt Disney. Walt Disney kind of tricked her, but Pamela Travers, yeah, so she put some of the theosophist philosophy into Mary Poppins. And the original Mary Poppins was about what baseball's about, which is reincarnation. That's the ultimate cycle.
Well, like you said, coming out of the dugout and then starting at home and then having to make your way all the way around all the bases to come back home and then go back to the dugout where you started.
Yeah, and if you fail, you get to try again. And the pitcher is the adversary. The pitcher is actually the material where we live in here, with all the problems that it has and the illusion. It's the pitcher. The pitcher is the one giving you all the obstacles that that you have to get around, and the challenges. That's what the pitcher is.
The red hoodie stands out to me too, just because of what I shared on Donut's stream towards the end was the movie Captive State 2019. And one of the main characters wears a red hoodie essentially 90% of the time of that movie. So there was a big red hood theme there, mainly because going back to the Charlotte stabbing story, where the suspect was wearing a red hoodie, right? So I'm just seeing more and more red hoods, especially with all the stuff you've been doing with ET. And
also, I also brought up in 1975, because assassination is the theme here with Donald Trump. 2 alleged, assassination attempts. In fact, during the Charlie Kirk, assassination and all the news that it's consumed and the, all the attention that it has it's conducted. What is a very big story, you'd think it would be a huge story under normal circumstances, is the trial of Ryan Wesley Ralph, who did the second Trump assassination. It was going on at the same time, the exact same time. Wasn't talked about as much because of the Charlie Kirk thing, but the theme is assassination. So I talked about Gerald Ford. In 1975, there were 2 assassination attempts on Gerald Ford. I think they were within a week of each other, or 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks, in 1975. So one of them was by Lynette Frum, was her name. And she was wearing, at the time of the assassination, and she was part of the Charles Manson gang. She was part of the Manson gang. She wasn't involved in the famous Manson, the Tate LaBianca killing. She wasn't involved in that. She joined the gang after that. But she, Lynette Frum, at the time that she did the attempted assassination of U.S. President Gerald Ford, was wearing a Little Red Riding Hood outfit. But it wasn't a hood, but she did have like a red, scarf over her head. But it's red, so Red Riding Hood, it goes back to that as well. And scarf over her head. But it's red, so Red Riding Hood, it goes back to that as well. And scarf over her head.
Hey, Cody.
But it's red, so Red Riding Hood.
Hey, Cody, we can hear you.
Back to that as well. And,
Huh? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear us echoing.
Hold on. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh my God. That's funny. Right as he asked that, he cuts out. That's too bad. Hopefully he can get it back. But anyways, Rambo, sorry.
So the Red Riding Hood, also the Red Hood, also applies to the assassination attempt of U.S. President Gerald Ford in 1975. He suffered 2 assassination attempts. So assassination is it's the central theme right now.
And that's why Erica Kirk was riding in a Ford in that music video.
Yeah,
shout out Joseph and Jurassic Liars. They were the ones really getting it out there.
Yeah, and that's part of my decode, which I have. I have a decode on that video.
And Joseph too, if I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
I do have a decode of that video. I don't know if you wanted to talk about your decode first with the 31 and the baseball.
Oh yeah. We can touch on that later. I want to make sure that we get through a bit of your stuff for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully, KODI can join us.
Yeah, he's gotten in once, so we'll see. He'll
All
figure it out. He'll figure it out.
Okay,
But you have the shared screen right now. Do you want me to remove it at the moment while you find something else, or?
No, I'll just scroll down. I actually have the decode here. So
cool.
This cycle symbol is, I mean, I can't even overestimate it. There are very few symbols more central. You see, around the world, there's this bizarre obsession with Ferris wheels. That's not really on the topic I'm talking about here, but it's to illustrate the importance of the cycle symbol. Around the world, this is not just United States, it's the whole world. They're obsessed with Ferris wheels. And the question has to be asked, what is this obsession with Ferris wheels? They're all over China. The one in Las Vegas, at one point when it was built, was the world's biggest Ferris wheel. But there's this race to build an even bigger Ferris wheel. And I think the biggest one now is in Dubai. Paris has one. London has one. There's this obsession with Ferris wheels. And they started in Chicago, the original Ferris wheel, which is why you have that famous comedy classic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which took place in Chicago. Why did they call him Ferris? Because Chicago is the home and the birthplace of the Ferris wheel. So I just thought I'd add that. The importance of the wheel and Kirk is central to that, because Kirk is circle. It has the same etymological root as circle. And I saw a part of your stream with Donut, and Donut brought this up, and right away, I had this in my video on Charlie Kirk. The one before, the latest one is O. The one I did before that, I showed, it was a video, so you could actually see the action instead of just the still picture of the ET bicycles and the Donnie Darko bicycles. This is actually a reference to ET. And ETs are a big topic, and regardless of what one thinks about extraterrestrials, it's something will be a major topic. So I'm talking about the Erica Kirk video, and for those who are not aware, Erica Kirk appeared in a 2012 music video by a Canadian country music group known as Emerson Drive. Now, at the time, this is in 2012, she married Charlie Kirk in 2019. So obviously in 2012, she was not named Kirk. Her last name is like a tough one to remember. France V. That's her original maiden name. So at the time, she was Erica France V. And this is the Wikipedia page for the song. Was called She's My Kind of Crazy. And there's all sorts of stuff to decode on it. But I brought hopefully what other people have not, a fresh angle to it, different than what others have seen. And so this is just a general scene from the video. And there's some symbolism even here with the legs up, and she's barefoot. She took her boots off. It's a little off topic, but this too, believe it or not, it is a secret society symbol, which is usually connected to MK Ultra, mind control. These symbols have a effect on the unconscious. At the human unconscious level, these symbols register, whether you consciously know it or not.
You're saying the pose, the colors.
No, the legs up, barefoot, with the legs crossed. I can give an example where they did this. There was a viral AI image. I don't have it here. I'm just saying off the cuff, of Donald Trump with legs crossed, like Erica Kirk has here, and barefoot, like she's barefoot in the video. And Elon Musk I think he's kissing Trump's feet or something. Now people see that just like a silly meme, probably by some Democrat or something, but feet, legs crossed, barefoot, is an esoteric secret society symbol, and Erica Kirk does it. There's so many symbols. She has the butterfly tattoo on the small of her back. And this is a clue. So any song, not any, most or many songs, I don't want to speak in absolutes. Very many songs that have crazy in the title are about MK Ultra mind control. If crazy is in the title, it's about MK Ultra. And
you've mentioned that before.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
that's just recently, I want to say, too.
Yeah, and in the video, she has I guess I don't know if she has this in real life or is this something done in the video. Or it is a tattoo she has. I mean, it might be a real tattoo she has. On the small of her back, there's a butterfly tattoo, and that's actually in the lyrics. So they refer to her butterfly tattoo in the lyrics. A song with crazy is about MK Ultra. Now, I'll give an example of Britney Spears. She did multiple songs where the title was about MK Ultra. And she did the song Crazy. She also did the song I'm a Slave for You. She did the song Hit Me Baby. That's all about MK Ultra. It's trauma-based mind control. That's what Hit Me Baby. It's about the trauma that causes your mind to split and causes you to dissociate. The dissociation is basically leaving your body vacant, which then leaves it primed for the installation of alter egos and, in some cases, actual spiritual possession. But that comes from trauma. You have to split out of your body. The trauma is a survival mechanism to survive the trauma, the pain of the trauma. The trauma can be physical or emotional. But I just had to mention that, even though it's not the main part of the topic, this is not an MK Ultra decode. I saw in your stream, Ani mentioned, he did mention the butterfly in your stream. I don't know if that was the same stream, but because I did watch another video of Ani's. I hope I'm not getting them confused. I thought it was in that stream where he did mention the butterfly and MK Ultra. It's the sphenoid bone of the brain. But just to give you an idea, so it does kind of make you maybe an indication of when you see people in positions like she's in, and it's not just celebrities, it's everyday people as well. Trauma-based mind control has been done on a very wide scale. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in, but she could be an MK Ultra monarch. Kobe Bryant had a butterfly tattoo on his shoulder as well. It's very, very prevalent, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll give a shout out. I have a link when I release this as a decode. I do have a link to Joseph Aquaviva's video. We shout out to him. He had last time I looked, he had 116,000 views on his decode of this video, which starred Erica Franks V was her name at the time. And the big focus on that was when she does the zip line. I guess Cody's back.
Yeah, Cody, we can hear some background noise, brother.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have anything on. What are you hearing now?
No, it's okay. There's just like kind of like a hum in the background. I mean, I've got a fan going.
Well, that's my fan. That's my
fan.
I've
got a fan too. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm sweating my butt off here, guys.
Yeah.
Because I don't when I get in when I do, it's not even hot in here, but when I do live streams, I guess my adrenaline gets going and I sweat like a horse, man. Like I don't sweat when I work out, but I sweat when I do live streams. It's so crazy. I don't know why. But I was just gonna say real fast, going with the France, her last name does translate to Francis, which is free man again. So you have this like free man stuff. Charles and Francis both mean free man. So it's like continually this free man stuff, you know?
Yeah. Going back to last year's World Series.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So what happens in the video is she goes to Las Vegas with her love interest, somebody named Tyler, the alleged shooter who, let's face it, does anyone really believe that's the shooter? But anyway, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk named Tyler, which turns out to be a pretty popular name. Like there's so many Tylers now, you wonder, like, is it just a common name? So when you get that many Tylers, it reaches a point where how significant is it if this many people are named Tyler? But this isn't a coincidence. So her love interest is an actor, I guess, and a model. His name is Tyler. I could never find his last name. But they go to Vegas. It looked like just a spontaneous visit to Vegas. And at Vegas, they do a zip line. They go on a zip line, and they pass this neon 910, which Joseph Aquaviva focused on in his video. And 910 just happens to be the date, September 10th, which is the date of the assassination of her future husband. This is in 2012, 13 years before. And so I'm focusing on the Kirk name. Kirk, same etymological root as circle, and I've emphasized the cycle symbolism. A lot of it has to do with the sun cycle and sun symbolism, which also you guys, especially Donut, brought up in your stream. He talked about Mithras, which I noticed the Mithraism with the stabbing Mithras, the Roman sun god stabbing the bull in the neck, which I'll talk about this in my decode here as well. But Donut did mention that. It's about the circle. It's about the sun cycle. Kirk is circle. And I brought up the Freemason emblem. The square, the G, the compass, which is not a compass. I knew this since 5th grade when I got my set of geometry tools in a little tin box. I was given a compass, a divider, a protractor, a square, and maybe a couple other items, a pencil. In 5th grade, I knew the difference between a compass and a divider. This is not a compass. This is a divider, and this is from engineeringencyclopedia.com. The definition of a divider. Dividers are similar to the compass and are made in square, flat, and round forms. However, unlike compass, a divider is provided with 2 needles on both the legs. 2 needles on both the legs. That's a divider. This is not a compass. Now, the reason that's important is because the square is shaped like a letter V. V is the 22nd letter. G is the 7th letter. 22 divided by 7. And that is pi, which you use to calculate the dimensions of a circle, which is a pretty deep symbol. And I see how you occult certain things. This is pretty. I knew this in 5th grade, what a divider was with 2 points, but that's how that's occulted. It's the formula for pi, 22 divided by 7. So I really stress that. But you have to understand that's a divider to get there.
Rambo, really quick, if I can add a little sports angle on it for the upcoming NBA season, that logo, the blue and gold, yeah. It makes me think of the Golden State Warriors, who share those same colors, G, Golden State, right? And Steph Curry, right? He's born on, I think, the first day that National Pi Day was actually ever coined, right? So there's definitely a lot more there has to be behind Steph Curry having that high birthday with what you were saying and the team he plays for, which share those same colors.
And the G of the Golden State, yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Cody.
And that the Golden State logo is I've actually covered this before. The Golden State logo is literally the bridge with a circle around it. Like the logo has a circle in it. Like that's what the logo is, a circle. It just has the bridge inside of it. So that's a riddle that another part of this. So this relates to the Charlie Kirk killing, because they say Tyler was 22 years old. It's 22 that has to be divided, and it turns out that Charlie Kirk's father is an architect. I can shout out one of my great patrons, Janet B, for pointing this. I found this out from her. She also pointed me to the Joseph Aquaviva's video. She let me know about that. But she also realized some elements that I'm going to mention here that she saw from my decode. So a very big shout out to Janet B.
She's had great contributions, great comments. Charlie Kirk's father, of course, is an architect. And those are architect tools. And he worked on Trump Tower, the connection of Kirk with Trump. So this is a sacrifice for Trump, regardless if it's a ritual or real killing. It's Trump is. Plus, at the rally, Charlie Kirk was promoting Donald Trump more than he was actually promoting Turning Points and himself. He wasn't really promoting his organization. He was promoting Trump, throwing out 47 hats, Trump 47 MAGA hats. It was a MAGA rally. It wasn't even about Charlie Kirk more than anything. But yeah, so Trump is all over this. So Kirk equals circle equals cycle. So that's what I focused on. And the O. So they happen in Orem, Utah. And he just so happens, so they say, to be a fan of the Oregon Ducks of NCAA football. And here he is at a Ducks game. And their logo is the O.
And did you guys notice that Erica is from Ohio? Just randomly?
Yeah,
it says she's from, but it doesn't say where. It just says she's from Ohio, but you don't know where. Like, I think they just put that in there because it's more. And what better state is there to represent the O than Ohio? I mean,
absolutely, yeah. And yeah, of course, and the Buckeyes are the reigning NCAA football champs. Their logo is an O. So you're right. I didn't even know that they didn't give a hometown for her. That's real interesting.
Yeah, they just literally I as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, there's something going on here, because normally they give a town, but they just say Ohio. They just,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he happens to be an Oregon Ducks fan. He's from Chicago. He likes Chicago teams. He likes the Bears. I think he likes the Cubs. But then suddenly he likes Oregon. All of a sudden, when it comes to suddenly his favorite team on the other side of the country. Well, the reigning NCAA football champions are Ohio State, which is the O. If Oregon were to win, I'm not saying they will. I'm not a betting channel. I don't gamble. But I just talk about the symbolism. If Oregon were to win, that would be a back-to-back O. That would be the OO that I've been talking about. Ozzy Osbourne died on 2/27. That was not by coincidence. It's because of his initials, OO, 2/27.
And let's talk about that for a second, Rambo, because the Oregon Ducks upset last week in college football, right? Beating Penn State on the road.
We nailed that one.
Yeah, we talked about that game where, in that case, the green and yellow is always coinciding with a game where a team is being upset. It's not necessarily always the team that's wearing the green and yellow. They could be the underdog upsetting, right? So
they won in OT.
OT, okay, yeah.
You know, they had to win in an OT, just to go with the O theme.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like we talked about in the NFL the previous week, I guess this could be, I don't know, I wouldn't say the biggest upset of the season, but didn't the Giants beat the Chargers? I think that maybe that's a bigger upset. One of the biggest upsets of the season was the Cleveland Browns from Ohio defeating the green and yellow, the Green Bay Packers, which are they're Super Bowl contenders. So yeah. I can go. So that's a separate decode as to why green and yellow is connected to upsets. But Oregon Ducks. So yeah, that's his favorite team. He's from Chicago. He likes Chicago teams, but he likes the O. And there's no O.
Is that their actual official logo there?
Yeah, it's an O. It's a yellow O.
Yeah, but that's just but look at it. There's nothing but O symbolism there. You got an O inside an O inside an O. You see that? There's three O's there.
Yeah, it's the circle, the cycle. That's what Kirk is. That's why it's because of his last name. Kirk is circle.
Looks like a portal, essentially.
Yeah, a portal. Yeah, that is related too. We're talking about Donnie Darko. What's that about? It's about time travel. Yeah, it's a portal. Yeah, that's what ET is about. How do extraterrestrials have such advanced ability to travel? It's through like wormholes and portals.
Well, and how about that for a second? I mean, with Donnie Darko that we've been talking about for quite some time now. Now you have Bad Bunny.
Exactly.
That's going to be headlining at the Super Bowl. So.
And we've been, I've been on my end and here on the bunny symbol all year, having to do with time travel, time. I talk about Alice in Wonderland, the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I pop up the Matrix in my latest video, Follow the White Rabbit, I've done a lot of. I've talked about Michael Jordan with Bugs Bunny in Space Jam. I've been on the rabbit thing all year.
Yeah, you have. Absolutely.
You'd think I would have predicted Bad Bunny, right? No, I didn't. But yeah, I have been on the rabbit theme. And yes, I should have considered Bad Bunny. Yes, well, all I can say is I have been on the rabbit theme, which actually could bode well for Joe Burrow. Where do rabbits live? In burrows. With Bad Bunny as the halftime show highlight, could Joe Burrow be in the Super Bowl? That's just a consideration. That's what a rabbit hole is. So she's some kind of crazy. It was uploaded onto the Emerson Drive. That's the group that made the song on 227. Remember, Ozzy Osbourne, died on this date, 227. The pi date, 22 divided by 7, that's the date on which Emerson Drive uploaded this video with Charlie Kirk's, Kirk means circle, future wife. But this is the thing. They changed it because now if you go to Emerson Drive and their YouTube channel and click on She's My Kind of Crazy, they changed the date. They moved it to July 23rd.
Just recently?
Yeah, they just did it. Like, so at the time this happened, it was July 22nd. This is Emerson Drive. This is their YouTube channel. And you can see how the views go up. It was 1,711,000 views. And they said July 22nd it was uploaded. I'm assuming it's always been July 22nd. But we were talking about this earlier before the show, how, I don't know, well, we do have influence, maybe more than we can imagine. Why would they change it now? I've been talking about the 227, the Ozzy Osbourne, over and over again. Circle and cycles have been one of my major focus points, and Charlie Kirk and how Kirk is circled. Since the Kirk incident happened, what I've been focusing almost exclusively on is his last name, Kirk, and how it's about Kirk is circle as cycle. Now you can see that it's gone up by over 100,000 views, and then they changed the date. They took it off the 722. I'm assuming it's been this way since the beginning. Now they change it. Why would they change it now?
Well, that's that big date too, has connections to Neptune and Sirius, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder, but I mean, yeah, that's weird that it kind of reminds me of what happened this week too with once we started talking about the snake eyes, everyone started going in and changing that. They started putting in the 10th as the date, and they started putting in the 19th, and they changed it back to the 10th and back to the 19th. Some weird accounts from New Zealand and Australia were changing this. So I don't know who's doing it, but and just to go back to that, like they specifically, I am of the conclusion that they specifically, well, somehow, of course, there was a plan long ago, and they specifically made that movie blurry in the storm to make the date not only look like the 10th, but to be able to be confused with the 19th, right? So, like, because actually Sean, Widow's son, he made a good point. He said the 0 to the 9 is kind of like a completion of a cycle, right? He's been talking about going back to the Garden of Eden. So big shout out to Sean for doing some great work on returns and in the Bible, how Revelation is basically features the, going back to Eden and Jesus, but he's been talking about that stuff a lot. And he mentioned, that the, back to the beginning or back to Genesis, kind of that's, and don't forget Ozzy's last concert was back to the beginning. So that's just, like a clear connection to the circle. And then, what else was I going to say? Yeah, but they kept changing the date, and they made 0 to 9. So they changed the 0 to 9, and that's what it looks like. But then in the movie, you have all this other stuff that points to the 10th. So it was clear that, and even Trump filed for bankruptcy on that casino that the movie was shot in on September 10th. And then later we find out that Trump actually got a lawsuit filed against him back in 2014. It was called Leslie versus Soros, and Trump was part of that lawsuit. But one of the law firms that defended Trump and Soros during that was Kirkland and Ellis. And the new Mormon guy that just took over, because we had that Mormon shooting, well, the guy who just took over the day before that, the new president of the Mormons, he worked at Kirkland and Ellis, which of course is based out of Chicago. And so, and again, I was going to talk about the Kirkland and Ellis lawsuit with Trump on the donut stream. And then the next day or 2 days later, we get that shooting at the Mormon church, and it points right back to the guy from the Mormon church, the new president, who worked at Kirkland and Ellis. So this September 10th date was coded in regardless of how you want to look at it. And even when I told you guys, shout out to Joseph, I'm going to show his slide in a bit, but he found out that the guy who founded Fremont, where Erica Kirk is gliding past in the video, he took office for that, for his office, what he worked for, on September 10th as well. So my point was that it all seems to be, it's almost like they coded this in to be the 19th or the 10th. And when you first look at it, it looks like the 10th. I'm sorry, but that's probably why the shirts that were being sold for this movie was saying the 10th too. Somebody thought it was the 10th by just looking at it, right? So, and going back to real fast to finish the point, the snake eyes, well, your eyes are circles, right? And it's interesting that in front of that movie cover, it says cage, snake eyes, like kind of like you're stuck in a cage, but it says snake eyes. And then if you think about it, the eyes are circles, but the snake is famous for being the circle that eats its own tail. And so you have the same symbolism really right there in that movie as well, if you think about it. So, and then don't forget Nicolas Cage. He was in that National or Treasure movie. And there was a lot of hidden programming in that, but yeah, I could go off on that, but I'll let you finish, Rambo, with that, but I have more to share later.
Yeah, so this is quite a interesting phenomenon. I'm assuming this has always been the date, 227. I've been talking about the circle, Kirk, circle over and over again, and then they changed it. This must have been done within a few days, maybe 4 days or so. They changed it for the first time. How interesting. This is an example of how this has happened again with me. I talked about the bunny. This is from a video that I did. This is a screenshot from my video that I released in April. Back in April, I released this video talking about Space Jam, talking about Michael Jordan's son, Marcus, getting his Lamborghini stuck on the train track. That's what got me on Back to the Future, because I knew that immediately that was a Back to the Future reference. A car on a train track. That was in February, before the Super Bowl. And then I did a decode on it, and I showed this image from Space. I actually got this from Wikipedia. It's in the video. I actually have a link to the video when I released this as a decode. And the running time was 88 minutes. And the reason I show this is because 88 minutes ties into Back to the Future. 88 miles an hour escape velocity. It's a Trump number. Erica Kirk was born in 88. Of course, I wasn't talking about Erica Kirk at the time I did this, but it was a Back to the Future. 88 was the main thing. But even Donnie Darko. It was set in the year 88 as homage to Back to the Future. And Donnie Darko has the bunny, Frank the Bunny. And but if you go to, so after I've been doing these decodes, if you go to Space Jam now on Wikipedia, they changed it to 87 minutes. They took a minute away. They don't want that 88.
This really quick, this kind of reminds me of Snake Eyes, right, Cody? As you pointed out, they really started messing around with that date, the 10th and the 19th. What was on the billboard, right?
Well, and again, what happened the morning I woke up in the morning, like 3 days ago, and there was no date originally in the Wikipedia page for the night of the storm and the fight where he gets shot. There was no date. And I wake up in the morning, and I just happened to be looking at the page, and I noticed they added the 10th in there. Well, I made a post about it proving, and I didn't think they were going to change the date again. I just took it because I thought they added the 10th. That's just more proof. And 2 hours or hour and a half later, one of my subscribers leaves a comment saying they changed it again. And I'm like, oh, no, they can't have just changed it again. So I go back in, and lo and behold, they changed it again to the 19th. So they went from no date to the 10th to the 19th. And then about an hour later, but this was after I made my post. That's why I thought it was super weird. They changed it literally right after I made my post where I proved, and then they changed it, right? And then
Cody, I think you cut out for a second.
they ended up changing it again, like several times, back and forth. So it was just continual, like messing with this, like Rambo's showing here. They're just messing with stuff.
Yeah, but it's not this random messing with stuff. It seems they're messing with stuff. It seems to be in reaction to these decodes. It seems to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a strike. People should not underrate the power that they have. They should not. They should not. Something I've realized now. This is a realm of illusion and deception. You think the people on top, these are the powerful ones. These are the ones that matter. The ones who get the headlines and the celebrities and the big, million subscribers. No, this is a world of illusion. People will be surprised how much power the quote unquote nobodies actually have. I mean, I've learned that. So this is the video I did with again, when I release it. I actually made this one for free because I released it on April 18th. The Back to the Future, Marcus Jordan with his car on the train tracks. That's where I did the bunny thing. So I'll make this post for free. Even this whole post, I'll just do that as a free post. I have a part 2 to this for the subscribers. So Erica Kirk, 88, she was born. Okay, so Emerson Drive, they did a behind the scenes video of video for She's My Kind of Crazy, and look at the length of the behind the scenes video. It's 2 minutes 27 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, one thing after another here. So you can see why they changed the date. So they're very conscious of this. No, this is too much to be any kind of coincidence. This is also on Emerson Drive's channel, and this is 227. So they did upload it on 22/7 July consciously. They did do it because they also did this with the behind the scenes video. So they're conscious of this number. So why did they change it? Well, I think I know why they changed, honestly. So this is so they did a behind the scenes, but who did the behind the scenes filming actually? It was the behind the scenes was this segment here, this 227 segment was actually about the zip line scene specifically. They weren't doing the behind the scenes of the whole video. It was specifically about the zip line scene. And this is related to 47. It's related to the sun symbolism. It's about the sun cycle. 47, it's the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn are separated by 47 degrees. He's Kirk. He's the circle. That's the cycle. Tropic of Cancer, that's when the sun is at its highest point. Tropic of Capricorn, when at its lowest point, that's part of the cycle. That's what the 47 is. It's a sun cycle number. And so I looked at since 47 is so central to this, I saw, so this is Erica Kirk's birthday, which is November 20th. 227 days before November 20th takes it to 4/7. And 4/7 is such a big part of the ritual. So that was just an interesting synchronicity. So again, I shout out to my patron, Janet B. She saw the video, and she saw this because she follows my work. In the video, when they enter Las Vegas, they make sure to show this billboard with a big O on it. And this is the Bellagio. I guess it's an arena or theater or something. I don't know if it's a hotel, but the Bellagio. And what this O is, it's a billboard, a neon billboard for the Cirque du Soleil. This is the Canadian circus. That's what that O is. It's in the video for She's My Kind of, and this is before she met Charlie Kirk. And there it is, that O, a central part of the video. The Cirque du Soleil, that's French for Circus of the Sun. And again, we're talking about the sun cycle. That's what it is. This is all a sun cycle. Charlie Kirk was born October 14th. That's when the sun he sets on the year. He's a Libra. Libra is the sign of the sun setting on the year in the fall. And he's a Libra. He's a sunset symbol. So this is the sign that greets the viewers when they watch the video, when they enter Las Vegas. So Silk. So you can see it in the name Silk, which is circus in French. Silk Kirk. I mean, it's right there. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. And I talk about where the neck, there's a shot of the neck, how that's a sun symbol. The neck wound is a sun symbol. That's Mithras, the Roman sun god that originated in Persia, Zoroastrian origin. Famously, he's stabbing the bull in the neck. And think about the bull, the Chicago Bulls. He's from Chicago. And this is Sol Invictus. So Mithras is a sun god, but not the supreme sun god. The supreme sun god of Rome was actually Sol Invictus, which means the unconquered sun. And this is Sol Invictus is always accompanied by the stabbing of the bull in the neck. And bull is a Chicago reference. This is the 47 degrees difference between the tropics. So the zipline company in the video is actually called Flight Lines. So it's Flight Line with a Z at the end, Flight Lines in Las Vegas. And it's over Fremont Avenue. So it's called Flight Lines at Fremont. And I got this screenshot from the video, the behind the scenes video, Flight Lines on the Fremont Street. This is from the behind the scenes video. Well, look at the gematria of Flight Lines with a Z in the Sumerian cipher. 1014, Charlie Kirk's birthday. That's the gematria of Flight Lines. Is all this a coincidence? She later would meet Charlie Kirk. And in my O video, I also brought up the 1014 in Sumerian. It's full circle. It's 1014. Kirk. It's all about Kirk, the circle. And so there's the Ford symbolism here. So the video focuses on this red Ford truck, the Ford emblazoned on the truck. So this is the beginning of the video when they leave for Vegas. This is when they arrive in Vegas. There's that Ford emblazoned on it. At the end of the video, this is the Ford when they're leaving Vegas. So this Ford truck is central. It's red. Of course, what does red Ford make you think of? I've been talking about Ford all year as well. Starting in New Year, January 1st, 2025, a Ford F-150 ran over a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And that was on January 1st. So the year started with a Ford truck in the headlines. And on that same day, January 1st, 2025, a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And there was a white pickup truck. You can see in the hazy security camera footage of the Tesla truck blowing up. You can't. I mean, maybe some expert can tell what kind of truck it is. That could have been a Ford F-150 as well. Ford has been right front and center since January 1st this year. And here it is in this video. The Ford, red Ford. You know where we're going with that one. Red.
I was gonna say this, but I guess you already got it, Rambo. You're already ahead of me.
No, you're trying to steal my thunder. That's it.
I was waiting though, because I was wondering, do you have this? And then look at you, you're on top of it.
No, we were both going for the same pass. I got there first, but yeah, but red Ford, I don't think this is subtle. It's pretty direct. It's a red Ford. And Robert Redford died in Utah, the same place in which Charlie Kirk died. And he died in Sundance. Again, this is about the sun cycle. He's a Leo. Leo's ruled by the sun. Robert Redford is a sun symbol. And
don't forget how this guy ties into what I was talking about in July, because what happened when Malcolm Jamal Warner died, and then 2 days later Ozzy died. Malcolm Jamal Warner has the same birthday as Robert Redford. That ties them to the Federal Reserve, because this is all tied to the Federal Reserve as well. Because remember, even in the Snake Eyes movie, the sign on the boxing match says Powell Pay, and the same day, the day before on Robert Redford died, the day after that, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve cut the interest rates, which Trump had been trying to get him to do for most of the year. So he came out the next day, and And again, Robert Redford's known for his movie Sneakers, where he hacks into the Federal Reserve. So it was like a perfect, like, had I been able to like really, because I talked about this in July with Ozzy and Malcolm Jamal Warner, how it was connected to the Federal Reserve. And then this guy dies perfectly. And then his name just happens to be Charles to go along with it.
Yeah, Charles Robert Redford Jr. So Robert Redford died on, again, Red Ford is the major part of central element of this video, the Red Ford. Robert Redford died on September 16th. It can be 16th September. Remember Flight Lines, the Fremont Street, 169. That's the Red Ford death date. In the that's in the Elizabethan cipher, which is still relevant. Flight Lines equals 16th.
That 169 is what turns into 1014 in Sumerian.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
yeah. That 169 is when you translate that to the Sumerian cipher. That's what that becomes 1014.
Okay, so that shows you the relation between Charlie Kirk, that's his birthday, and Robert Redford's death date, and Red Ford is in his future wife's video. So yeah.
And that's when you multiply it times 6, right? And in the reduction, O is the 6th letter. So it's kind of interesting how all that kind of fits.
Yeah. So more circle symbolism in the video is where Tyler puts a ring on Erica's finger. This is more of a Saturnian symbol than a sun symbol, but Saturn, there's the mythology or alternative history where Saturn used to be Earth's sun, which is related. It's related to Back to the Future, the Boston Bruins, the 8-spoked wheel, the wheel. So this is Saturnian, which is related to the sun. So that's the other circle symbolism. And at the end of the video, you see this is Ogden Avenue that they're driving by. Ogden, and Ogden is a city in Utah. Starts with an O. Charlie Kirk, the assassination ritual was in Orem. So it's Ogden, and then another reference to Utah. Robert Red Ford died in Utah. So all these themes come together. This is just a Vegas map to give an idea. This is Fremont, where they did that. It's the big focus of the video. How Ogden is just right off of Fremont. And
Rambo, sorry, really quick. Speaking of Utah and the sports connection, all of my Love themes are now colliding in with your Utah themes because Kevin Love is now with the Utah Jazz. So I just thought that was interesting. Just like with literally two different themes that we've both been sharing.
Yeah,
to kind of come to a head in the NBA, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and love also corresponds with the O because in tennis, 0 is love.
Right.
Right.
That's why he wears number 0.
Yeah. So that does ties in with. So yeah,
I think he wears 0, or at least he has at times. Hold on, I gotta double check on that. I apologize if I misspoke.
Plus, once again, Utah is also something that I've been focusing on for a long time before the Charlie Kirk incident. I actually started focusing on Utah when I did my decode on the Justice Department attorney who threw a Subway sandwich at an ICE agent on U Street in Washington, D.C. That's when I started talking about Utah and the Utah pig farm that was being protested at the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Then I talked about the Rams player, Robert Wagner, who tackled the animal rights protester, and he went to Utah State. I talked about the green and yellow of Subway and how it corresponds with the green and yellow in the NFL of the Green Bay Packers, who on September 11th played the Washington, D.C. team. And the starting quarterback there, you just talked about the name Love. The other Love is Jordan Love, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He went to Utah State. I talked about all of that in Utah. Then I did my Trump Batman decodes. The Man Who Killed Batman is what the title of my videos. And I talked about somebody who allegedly attempted to poison Donald Trump. He was from Utah. Then I talked about the Rock of Love, which was a reality TV series where these women compete for Bret Michaels, who was the lead singer of Poison, because they're trying to poison Trump. And he was from Butler, Pennsylvania, where there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Well, a contestant on that Rock of Love show passed away this year, and she was from Utah. So these are all Utah mentions that I had made over multiple decodes, even before the Charlie Kirk incident. So just another, like with the rabbit theme. These are things that I have been talking about for a long time in my decodes, which have come to the fore as far as media attention and the highest profile stories. So a curious thing in the videos is the license plate changes. So at the end of the video, the license plate says E Drive 12. So Emerson Drive is the name of the musical group. But the license plate, it says E Drive 12. So you can see that's at the end of the video when they're leaving Vegas. But that's not what it was in the beginning. But I did some gematria calculations on E Drive 12. This is actually gematria combined with numerology. So E Drive is 99 in the reverse ordinal, where you start with Z and with A. And you add 12 to this, that's numerology. That's combining gematria with numerology. E Drive 99 plus 12 is 111, which is interesting. Because at the start of the video, that's not what the license plate was. At the start of the video, the license plate said 4991. It went from 4991 at the beginning of the video, and it was E Drive 12 at the end. Well, E Drive 12 is 111. That's gematria plus numerology. So I wondered, okay, so what is 4,991 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination? And it took me to 111. That's in 2012. So it's an interesting little cycle that you have here. This is all about Charlie Kirk. That's his future wife in the video where the license plate.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that's the year that Turning Point was founded, 2012.
Yeah, a lot happened in 2012 was a big year. Remember, the world was supposed to end in 2012. That was the end of the Mayan.
It was supposed to be the end of a cycle there, huh?
Yeah, it's the end of the Mayan calendar cycle. 2012 is huge. But this is what you get when you combine the two license plates. It ends with E Drive 12, which is 111. It starts with 4991. And 4991 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination takes you to 111, which is the value of E Drive 12. So it has So I did look for what significant events might have happened on this date. The only thing that might tie in, there are no major world events, but this did happen on that date, since this video codes this date. It was the death of a former Denver Broncos owner. His name is Edgar F. Kaiser. He's former owner of the Denver Broncos. He died on this day, which is coded into the video. Well, if you use Charlie Kirk's death date, and the Denver Broncos are relevant because the Bronco is a model of a Ford Bronco. When we talk about O's, look at where Edgar Kaiser, he died in Toronto, Ontario. Can't get many more O's than that. And he also died. He died at age 69, which is the glyph, and he was born in Oregon. We just talked about Oregon, the Ducks. Charlie Kirk's favorite team. You see how that's coded into? So this is the big event on that day, January 11th, 2012. In fact, Edgar Kaiser, he's known for bringing John Elway to the Denver Broncos, and the rest is history after that. But he died in Toronto, Ontario. That's 5 O's at age 69, which is the glyph for Cancer. Cancer in the tarot is the chariot. And a Bronco is a Ford model. And what's the most famous Ford Bronco?
O.J. Simpson?
Yeah, that's the most famous Ford Bronco in history. From the low-speed chase. And he's a Cancer, too. Cancer 69. The Denver Broncos owner died at age 69. And John Elway was in a chariot ritual this year. His friend and former agent fell off the back of a golf cart that John Elway was operating. That's the chariot. Chariot is a symbol in tarot for Cancer zodiac, which is the 69. John Elway is a Cancer. He wore number 7. The chariot card is number 7. So yes, this is more chariot symbol. And where does this chariot symbolism come from? It is Helios, the Greek sun god Helios. And he is a major. The chariot is a major symbol of Helios. We go back to this chariot symbol and the wheel symbolism and the sun cycle symbol. It's about the sun cycle. That's what Kirk is. And the name of the band too. It's called Emerson Drive. The Bronco and the Ford. So Ford is actually a U.S. presidential assassination code. Gerald Ford had 2 assassination attempts. President Gerald Ford. Abraham Lincoln was shot in Ford's theater. Ford is a U.S. presidential assassination code. You had a Ford F-150 run over pedestrians on January 1st this year on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. On the same day that a Cybertruck blew up outside of Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And when Ryan Wesley Routh, whose trial is going on at the same time as this Charlie Kirk assassination, his arrest videos, front and center is a Ford F-150. Ford is a presidential assassination code. I can go more into that in my follow-up decode to this. So a recent death that happens, there are a series of significant deaths that happened in close succession. So Charlie Kirk died on September 10th. Robert Redford, Red Ford, died 6 days later. 8 days later was the death of Sarah Jane Moore, who I've talked about. I had been talking about her before she died in regards to her attempted assassination of Gerald Ford. So Sarah Jane Moore was one of the attempted assassins of Gerald Ford, U.S. president, in 1975, which I talked about. But then right after I talked about her, she died on the 24th. So she ties into Ford as well, because she attempted to assassinate Ford. Red Ford had died 8 days before that. This was after Charlie Kirk, whose wife, before she was his wife, had featured in a red Ford truck. And then Russell Nelson, who's a big figure in Utah, obviously the head of the Mormon church, he dies 3 days later. So these are all significant in a short period of time. So I'll end that there. A future decode, because when she goes around the zip line, she passes the 910, which we know that's the significance of that. That's Charlie Kirk's assassination, September 10th. 1010 is also in the video, and that's very significant. I've done videos on 1010, and I'll go into the 1010. And I'll give one example of the 1010 right here, just because I'm talking about the Ford. The official narrative, the official history of the Abraham Lincoln assassination in Ford's Theater. John Wilkes Booth entered Ford's Theater at 10:10 p.m. Now, I have more on the 10:10, and there's an NFL connection to it. So yeah, that's I'll leave it there.
That 10:10 reminds me of the there's a few things I thought about that. There's a lot of 101s in the gematria of the assassination. First of all, assassin equals 101. I think spiderweb equals 101.
Yep.
And I was talking a lot about Charlotte's Web. I think full circle equals 101. I think I just looked that up. I think full circle equals 101.
And tomorrow will be 10/1, 101, which is
right.
the anniversary of the Vegas shooting, right?
Right. And that's like binary, right?
And this is recorded in Vegas.
Whenever I see like the
So-
1-0s, I just think binary too. You know, like I think binary computer code. And then also I was thinking about the date 10/10. Well, I'm really looking. Okay, so I can essentially say that in a way, predicted the Charlie Kirk thing. Now, of course, I could have never known it was going to be Charlie Kirk or it was going to be connected. But all August, I was talking about Charles, but like literally all August. And I was talking about WWE's event in Paris, France, where Princess Diana crashed. That was the whole reason. So I always look at these WWE events and I'm always like, they always turn out to be big. There's always something that happens in connection with them. And the reason I'm talking about this again is because the next WWE event, well, actually, there's one coming up that's really interesting on the 7th. So this one's interesting too. It's called, look at this. Can I share my screen, AJ?
Yeah, of course.
I just kind of want to hit this real fast because I thought that was super interesting. I'm going to get to the O's in a second. I have some interesting things I found in the background as Rambo was sharing. But I want to hit on this real fast while I'm on it. It's going to be called NXT Showdown. So what's crazy about this is this is kind of a smaller WWE event. This is like the minor league wrestlers event. So it's not the big one, but it was originally called NXT Invasion. And the reason that they changed it is because look, it says right here, even the special was really called Invasion, reviving the Invasion event from 2001. But due to and look at the symbol. You see how there's the V there? So, and man, that looks a lot like what and look at the date, guys. Wow. And look at this. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know this. Look at the date and look at the state it was in. It was on September 20 or July 22nd in Ohio. Guys, Invasion, wow. The V. Rambo, you were just talking about the V. It looks like the bottom part of the V of the compass.
Yep.
Right? And who's this?
Wow.
Who's this right here on the cover? It's Vince McMahon, two-faced with his son. So one side is Vince McMahon. Of course, you guys know who that is, the founder, or the head guy. He's no longer the head of WWE, and the other half of it is his son. Think about it. When you have your son, it's almost like coming full circle, right? You come full circle with your own offspring. But yeah, look at that. July 22nd in Ohio. In Cleveland, on top of that.
That's wild codes.
Well, I didn't even know that, and I wasn't even planning to talk about. I never even looked at this. But this is so this event that's coming up on the 7th is in Orlando. There's the O, and they changed it though from the word invasion, which again was taken from this one, the one I just showed you. So they were reviving it since the one from 2001. But they changed it because of this. But due to the controversy regarding the name, the date coinciding with the 2nd anniversary of the October 7th attacks. So they literally tell you, and they did this for a reason. They made it Invasion first, right? And then they changed it because it was on the same date of the invasion of Israel on the 7th a couple years ago. And so that's happening, right? The invasion, but now they changed it to Showdown. So I have to look more into this. But what I was going to also talk about, going back to the 10/10, 3 days after that, the WWE is having their big event, which is for like the major players. This is like the minor league essentially, and the bigger players are going to have their event 3 days later on 10/10, or no, sorry, 10/11. So one day after 10/10, and it's going to be in Australia. And it's going to be in Perth, Australia. And one thing I found that's super interesting with this city is it's known for the river that runs through it. It's called the Swan River. And when I first noticed, immediately what I first thought of was swans. And then upon further reading, I learned that they called it that, the Swan River, because of the black swans that lived there. And if you guys don't know what a black swan is an event unexpected event that causes the markets to absolutely collapse. And don't forget, October is a month where we had the 1929 market collapse, which was a black swan. So I'm really looking out for this October for something unexpected to happen. And what's big about that event in Australia, I'll bring it up so you guys can see it, but it's called Crown Jewel Perth. And again, this whole thing is about these wrestlers are going to be fighting a champion versus a champion, and whoever wins, Cody Rhodes is going to be fighting Seth Rollins. They're both champions, and whoever wins is going to get a ring. So a circle, okay? And Cody Rhodes is the defending Crown Jewel champion. This is only the second year they've done this. And this is also the first Crown Jewel not held in the Middle East. So they actually bringing it out of the Middle East into Australia for some reason. And again, but what's crazy about this whole thing is that this event is going to be held on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes' birthday. And why is that so crazy? Because his son is going to be fighting in that main event for the Crown Jewel ring. Like, how perfect. And this woman right here on the bottom, she's from Australia. And it's her birthday also that day. So when you know these characters, I just feel like there's a lot of crazy stuff that is coded into this. Of course, John Cena, he's going to be having some of his final matches. And his phrase right now is, the last time is now. So kind of like completion, right? And they just announced that he'll have his last match on December 13th this year. And they're hyping it up now. And it will be on Saturday night's main event, which is where Hulk Hogan predicted the Twin Towers to come crumbling down. So just something crazy with that. Like, that's just kind of a side note. I'll probably do a whole standalone video on this. But to go back to the circle real fast, because I really want to hit on this. So I was thinking about Abraxas just because he's known as like the border, like the god of borders or cycles, basically completion of a cycle. Because if you read, he's the great archon. See if I can find where it says. Notice it says Charles William King. There's a guy named Charles William King that's connected to this. That's interesting. See if I can find right here. It says the unbegotten father is what he's known as. He's the progenitor of the discerning mind, the logos or the word, and wisdom, Sophia. The process continues in a manner until the 365 heavens are in existence. The angels of the last or visible heaven become the authors of the world. The ruler, i.e., the ruler of which is of the 365 heavens, is Abraxas. So Abraxas, his name in Greek, Isosophy, equates to 365. And that is supposed to be symbolic of him being the completion of every completed day on a calendar year. So he is the completion of because every day is a little circle within the big circle, right? He's the big circle that represents all of it. That's kind of what I get out of it. There's probably more, and if you see down here, Carl Jung, which again, Carl is Charles. See if I can find that part. And here's the Greek. If you take that and you put it in Greek, it will equal 365. His name actually is supposed to be where they derived the word abracadabra from also. Aleister Crowley, he wrote a mass, the Gnostic Mass, about Abraxas. So Carl Jung, in the 7 Sermons to the Dead, he wrote, "There is a God about whom you know nothing, because the men have forgotten him. We call him by his name Abraxas. He is less definite than God or devil. Abraxas is activity. Nothing can resist him but the unreal. Abraxas stands above the sun and above the devil. If the Pleroma were capable of having a being, Abraxas would be its manifestation. So that was Carl Jung. So in English gematria, this is where I kind of want to get to the gematria. In English gematria, Abraxas equals 66 and 123, just in your base forward and backward, which is interesting because Charles equals 66 and 123, and the feminine form of the word Francis, so Charles means free man and Francis means free man. But look at the word freedom. It also equals 66 and 123, like Francis and like Charles, which both mean freedom or free man. New beginning equals 123, and I also found that completed cycle equals 66, like Abraxas, like Charles. And then I noticed this in the queue. Somebody had, or I didn't type this in, but I just was looking at matches and I saw the Big O. I was like, what's that? Well, and Abraxas is essentially the Big O. He's the Big O around all the little O's on a calendar year, right? And it's a show out of Japan called the Big O. Of course, it started in October, which is the only month that starts with an O. But I haven't had a chance to look into this, but I'm just showing this because this is kind of on topic of what we've been talking about. The Big O, Abraxas, you could say he's the Big O. And it has some, again, I think it has something to do with being free from the cycles with all the freedom connections. I know the word woman also equals 66. And one final thing I'll say here, the 66 is also a big cycle number in my opinion, because the last book of the Bible is the 66th book. So maybe Abraxas represents the 66th book of the Bible, or the completion of the Bible. Not only that. And notice that he also, in reverse, equals 123. So what I'm kind of seeing here is you got the last book, which Abraxas equals 66, and that's Revelation. And then you start over at 1, 2, 3, Genesis, right? You see it there? You get the last book, and you go back to the beginning. 1,
Hey,
2,
Cody.
3.
Cody, can sorry. Go ahead, Rambo.
I can say real quick. That is Ozzy Osbourne's birthday, December 3rd.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. New beginning, 123 as well. Go ahead, AJ.
No, I was just going to say, from a basketball perspective, it makes me think about Oscar Robertson, aka the Big O. That was his nickname.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know his nickname was the Big O.
Yeah, his birthday is November 24th, 1938. So he's still alive. I'm just pointing him out. I mean, he's getting up there. He just had his 86th.
So he has the same birthday, or he has the same birth year as Christopher Lloyd, because I've been looking. Christopher Lloyd's born in 1938, and I've been looking at him because in the Wednesday series, they kill him. They kill Christopher Lloyd in the Wednesday, which released on the Wednesday before the Wednesday that Charlie Kirk was shot. And okay. I watched the series and just finished it, and something interesting happens to Christopher Lloyd. In the show, he's a talking head. He doesn't have a body. He's just a talking head in a glass jar of fluid. And the way he dies is the mad scientist. You know, he played the mad scientist in Back to the Future, right? Well, the mad scientist in that, who's the villain in the Wednesday series, he eats his brain out. He turns off the power supply to his machine that's keeping his head alive. And then he opens the jar, and the mad scientist zombie eats his brain. So it's kind of like a cycle too. The mad scientist gets and that when he eats his brain, that gives him. He starts out as a zombie. This guy that eats his brain, and he gets electrocuted back to life as a zombie. And every brain he eats, he gets more closer back to his original form. So the last form that he eats is Christopher Lloyd's brain, and that brings him back to full, like, from being a zombie all the way back to being a full thinking human being again. So it's really deep, because if you think about it, Christopher Lloyd is famous for being the mad scientist in that Back to the Future. And if you watch the trailer for the new season, it has a spider in it. Like I've been talking about the spider web. It has a circle in it. It has like all kinds of symbolism. And again, this came out the Wednesday before the Wednesday that Charles Kirk was shot. And the Wednesday before that, what happened? I think there was something that happened on the Wednesday. I think the other shooting was on a Wednesday, the church shooting. And I think this goes back to Odin, who starts with an O, right? And
you were talking about the Annunciation Church, right? That shooting?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the church shooting before Charlie Kirk, which means church shooting. I mean, like
Right.
some predictive programming right there for sure.
But yeah, the Wednesday thing, I kind of want to do maybe a whole video on that, because the villain in that movie is Tyler, and he's played by an actor named Hunter. I even missed that part, AJ, when I was talking about it in the little bit I talked about it. The actor that plays Tyler, his name is Hunter. So
Dude, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, I didn't know it either. I was like, I just noticed the character in the movie was named Tyler, right? And he's like the villain. But then I looked at the actor, his name is Hunter Doolin or Duhan or something like that. I was like, are you kidding me? His name's even Hunter. It's always these same names. The four names that have been popping up constantly are the Kirk, of course, or the Kirkland, whatever, and the Charles, of course, and then the Hunter, James, and Tyler. Those are the names that continually popping up lately. Like everything seems to be connecting to those. So, and I know why the James and Charles are also coming up, because King James, his name was James Charles, and he's the guy who's responsible for the Bible, which is now 66 books. And again, Charles equals Abraxas. So that's why I think there's something here. I kind of think Abraxas, in a way, being equaling 66 is really big. But yeah, this show is also interesting. I don't know. I might look in more into this, but I didn't know that Oscar Robertson was called the Big O. Well, there you go. I guess that's probably why it was typed in the calculator. And this is just crazy too. This is organic connected to me, because what's my last name? Robertson.
Right.
And I'm from the Big O, Ohio.
But, I didn't even look at his birthday or anything. It just, this guy just popped into my brain. I was like, oh, is this guy still alive? I was curious.
Oh, he went to Cincinnati.
There you go.
So there's an Ohio connection.
Yeah, so one of my patrons who's tech savvy, I guess he's in the tech industry, he said that the Big O is actually a computer term.
Oh, really?
It has something to do with calculating the size of an algorithm or something. He says they use the term the Big O in computing.
Huh.
And I just showed you how the Apple headquarters is in a circle. The Microsoft headquarters is in a city which is called the bicycle capital of the Northwest. So they're always big in computing. And one of my patrons confirmed that the Big O, apparently it's a computer tech term as well.
Hey, I have a one cipher match to my buddy. I have a one cipher match, so that's interesting. 65. But yeah, like with what you're saying, Rambo, I didn't know that about the computer thing, considering I was just talking about with the 101 kind of being like the binary. And of course, wasn't the room number? Yeah, the room number in the Matrix was 101.
Yeah, so 101 is also an MK Ultra. MK Ultra code, 26 and 101. Because 101 is a 26 prime number. It's a very big mind control MK Ultra symbol. So in the context in which it shows up in the Matrix, it's a mental thing. Even name is Neo. That's the neocortex of the brain. The company he works for is called Cortex. It's about the brain. Room 101 is also in the book 1984. That's a room where they take you when they can't break people psychologically. Room 101 is the room where like nobody can really survive. That's the room where they take the hardest people to break, because nobody can survive room 101. That's the room they take Winston to in 1984. 101 is very big in MK Ultra. Spiderweb is an MK Ultra symbol as well.
Well, that's interesting, because I think Spiderweb equals 101. So
yeah, it does. I have a whole bunch of like MK Ultra codes. Like I guess I should do another video on that.
Also, another thing I know about the 101 is that in the Zoroastrianism, there's 101 names of God. Also, There's like a actual 101 names of God in that religion. I looked into that, but also I think if there's an interesting gematria connection with that too. I can't remember what it is, but something equals 101 in Zoroastrianism. But I can't remember it now. But I know I've looked into that because I thought that was interesting that they said there was 101 names of God, and then it's if you type in Zoroastrianism, I think maybe it equals 101. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that. But that's a number that did come up a lot because Orem Utah equals 101, Assassin 101. There was more. There was definitely more that I saw, but I can't. But yeah, that's I think that's all I really have to add. But
well, we are right at that 1 hour 45-minute mark, so I guess maybe to kind of wrap things up, Rambo, I still have your request, or like I never closed you out as far as sharing your screen. I can throw it back to you if there was anything else you wanted to kind of close us out with.
I want to mention.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just want to allow you that opportunity.
You mentioned Hunter, how there's so many hunters that are coming up. So another theme that I'm on is the subway, under, and the U Street with that Subway sandwich, and the submarine. So submarines are something I brought up. You brought up my hunt for Red October, but you were focusing on the hunt part.
Right.
There's another submarine movie, Crimson Tide. This is Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. Denzel Washington's character is Hunter. So Hunt for Red October, and then Hunter and Crimson Tide, there's this connection between the submarine and the name Hunter for some reason.
Sorry, guys. I forgot to. I told Joseph I'd share his slide. I didn't do that yet either. So I got to do that before we get off too. But remember, you can continue, and then I'll do that at the end.
So no, that was the Hunter connection with the submarine, which is something after the Subway sandwich thing, which turned into a pretty major esoteric event. Submarines are a thing too. And which, again, Hunt for Red October. Red October, what's the big month in baseball? It's October. October is the month in baseball. Reds could be. Are the Cincinnati Reds going to be there in October? They're the underdog. I mean, the Reds fit a lot of these symbols.
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, there's many games played, so things to think about.
I'll just say, so as far as my post goes, it's just I have more on the 1010. It's a presidential assassination code. Like I said, John Wilkes Booth entered Ford's Theater, again, Ford, at 10:10 p.m. And
I just gave you the stage back, just so you know.
Yeah, so that's I think I'll put this video out for free, so even if people join for free, they can see it. I mean, not the decode; it's a written decode. But I have a part 2 to this, and there's an NFL connection more on the Ford presidential assassination. Ford is a presidential assassination code, which I don't know if they're going to have an attempted assassination on Trump, or they're going to say an actual one. But it's not good symbolism for Trump. But yeah, so I'll go more into the 1010, and that's what I'll do. This is NFL. There's a lot of automobile, the chariot related symbolism. So yeah, that's what I'll follow up with. So yeah, Kodi, you can share what you wanted.
Okay, I think I have the screen, AJ.
Yeah, let me pass it over. There we go.
This is from Joseph, just to add on to the music video, and also some snake connections. And again, snake does equal circle, and Utah equals circle as well. They all equal 50 in the basic ordinal gematria. So that's another connection with that. But so this is the guy who supposedly this was named after, I guess. Fremont. In the video, it says Fremont right below the 910 there. And I guess it's named after this guy, John Charles Fremont. And, well, this not only does he have the Charles, which is perfect, and Fremont means freedom, which is the shirt that Charles Kirk was wearing when he got shot on 9/10, but it also has he took over as a United States Senator on September 10th. So I have to see how many years exactly that was. That would be what? That would be 175 years to the day, I think, something like that. And again, yeah, he just showed here the comment by Erica saying we had a blast. Tyler and I had a blast shooting. Like, come on. But yeah, and the snake thing, going back with quickly on the snake stuff, Bad Bunny's 31. He just got announced like Charlie Kirk, and snake equals 31, like TPUSA, which is the abbreviation. Aurum means serpent. In fact, Aurum actually means it can mean subtle serpent, which is like perfect to go with the Garden of Eden, which is why Sean's work has been so important. So make sure you guys go check out his channel as well, Widow's Son on YouTube. But yeah, Snake 31, Bad Bunny equals The Snake, which is the poem that Trump was reading. In all ciphers. So Bad Bunny equals The Snake and football in all ciphers. So, yeah, and I had found the connection that if you go 225 days from the beginning of the snake year this year to the shooting, it was 225 days to Kirk's shooting, which is the year of the snake in gematria. And then if you go from the shooting to the end of the year of the snake on February 16th next year, it's 22 weeks and 5 days. So it was perfectly in between two dates that can be 225, which is the gematria of Year of the Snake, which is the year we're in, too. It's the year 225. Oh, Joseph says Fremont also led expeditions through Utah and later became governor of Arizona. So look at that. So this Fremont guy has the connection to Utah and Arizona, and he took office on September 10th. Wow. I mean, this is just an undeniable addition to the already undeniable additions that were made. So, and big shout out to also the channel that originally this came from, Jurassic Liars. That's the channel it originally came from. And then Joseph also, he did his video about it, which went viral pretty much. So I think that's it for Joseph's shares. Thank you, Joseph, for letting me share that.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. Was there anything else we wanted to close out with? Trying to keep it, I guess, right around 2 hours. So we got a couple minutes left.
I think I'm pretty much, I mean, there's other things I could talk about, but it would cause a whole nother conversation. So.
Yeah. I
So,
guess
you talked about, I talked about the chariot, so the car theme, the Ford, the automobile, that's the chariot of the tarot. It's tarot card number 7. Well, KODI had mentioned that abracadabra comes from Abraxas. I just find it interesting that abracadabra is actually on Aleister Crowley's tarot card for the chariot. I just thought that was an interesting connection. He actually does have abracadabra on the chariot card. Since I didn't know it was related to Abraxas. Right?
I'll have to go back and learn more about Abraxas, because what's weird about him is it's hard to find, like, I mean, there's a whole Wikipedia page on it, but there's also a lot of different channels that I just haven't done a thorough enough research to understand it fully. But I know that Abraxas was written about specifically. There was an excerpt from Aleister Crowley's book there about Abraxas. So he clearly has mentioned him in his work, but I'll have to see exactly what he said, because the one they give you on the Wikipedia page is all in Greek. I can't read it. I don't know what he actually said about it. So, but no, he died on 12/1, didn't he?
Oh,
I thought
okay, yeah.
for a minute there, I thought he died on the same day Ozzy was born, or on 12/3. But I think it's actually he died on 12/1. Crowley did.
Yeah, 121 is a big number for.
Yeah, so definitely, like I said, people have been trying to get me to look into Abraxas forever, and I have looked into it, but I haven't had enough. There's not a lot of gematria connections I found with Abraxas, other than the 66 I shared with you. But maybe it's not even the gematria that matters, because his name in Greek equals 365, which pretty much right there, that's the story. That's all you need to know. But and that's the reason that they tell you. That they tell you in all those things, everything you read about it, they'll always tell you the gematria of his name is 365. So, but I didn't the problem was I never found a lot of English gematria that seemed to matter, that came out to 365, that would like confirm it in English. The only thing I found was keeper of time equals 365 in Jewish Latin gematria.
Yeah, so I looked at the movie Snake Eyes, but what I saw was not related to the Charlie Kirk thing. But in general, what I saw was a lot of the Hanged Man theme. I'll leave it at just the Neptune, the card. The Hanged Man represents the planet Neptune. So my big takeaway from looking at that movie was the overwhelming Neptune symbolism. Neptune is a Hanged Man, and Batman is a Hanged Man. It also ties into Donald Trump. And yeah, the other, yeah. So I know that's not. I don't see heavy Neptune symbolism with Charlie Kirk, but I just saw the Hanged Man all over Snake Eyes again. But that'll be just a separate decode altogether. The only way that ties in is through Trump. Trump is the Hanged Man. He's the Bat.
Well, the Superman Batman theme was big too. I found a video of Charlie Kirk arguing with a guy about his favorite superhero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they clearly try to get you to think of Superman, but they're trying to imply Batman. You should definitely watch it, Rambo, because the kid who asked him the question, he asked him, "Well, what's your favorite superhero?" And Charlie Kirk says, "Well, I always leant towards Batman because he seemed more realistic. Like he's like a rich guy who gives up his money basically to fight crime." And but then after he says that, the guy says, "Wait, not Superman?" Like he asked him Superman. He brings in Superman for some odd reason. Like even though Charlie Kirk didn't even mention Superman, he just mentions Batman. But then he brings in Superman. The kid does. And then by the end, they both even admit that Trump is Batman. You should listen to it, because the Charlie Kirk says Trump is like Batman, and the kid's like, yeah, he's Batman. Like they both agreed that Trump's Batman. It was funny, just considering what we've already talked about so many times. And like, but that they had to bring the Superman in there because it ended up being that Charlie Kirk's death would be connected really to Superman because of they had said he had a neck of steel. He was the Man of Steel. And then they caught the shooter next to the Superman poster in the Dairy Queen, which, by the way, I think I'm going to do a whole video on this. Not even any gematria, just showing how much of a lie all this is. Supposedly the Dairy Queen that the kid was supposedly at, they've closed it down now.
Yeah, I saw that video.
I want to do a whole standalone video just on that, like how ridiculous this is that anyone could believe.
Superman. Dude, did you see the actual video? Because I haven't, but I want to say somebody in a comment somewhere said that in the footage or the photo you can see of Tyler Robinson at that Dairy Queen, in the background there is like a Superman silhouette or some sort of advertisement with Superman.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you're talking. Yeah, maybe that's what you're talking about, the same thing as me. But there's a poster for the movie that came out this year, an advertisement in the background where he's standing in the Dairy Queen.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah. So you have that, but then also Clark Kent CK for another CK reference.
And what what I found interesting too is the day that the Charlie Kirk YouTube posted the Superman and Batman argument with this kid was August 7th, the day Snake Eyes came out.
Oh man!
And guess who also played Superman? who voiced Superman, Nicolas Cage. So, and the reason I think this is connected is because think about Superman. He has a freaking S on his shirt. What does that look like? A snake. I think that's what it's all about. I think they're connecting Superman with the S and the snake eyes, because Nicolas Cage, that movie came out August 7th. The video was posted on Kirk's YouTube on August 7th, the anniversary of Snake Eyes, and they're arguing about Batman Superman, right? With the superhero that has the snake on his chest. And then I find out that Nicolas Cage is actually played Superman, was the voice of Superman. So, and don't forget, one thing that we really need to think about and look into is, we need to look into more into Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts was born on the dang day of Snake Eyes. Born on that very exact day.
That's a good point. And
Bad Bunny, this is a big one, which I'm going to connect more, but Bad Bunny, who's not going to be the Super Bowl performer, he was born 11 days before Snake Eyes came out and Jalen Hurts was born.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? I guess connecting all the snake symbolism and all of the sound themes that you've been on, it makes me think of, what is it, a snake charmer with their instrument, the musical instrument that use sound to influence snakes.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like there could be some overlap there.
That's a good point. But the 1611 is pretty crazy if you think about it, from that to the, because that's the Bible, that's the King James Bible. Was the first thing I noticed with this Charlie Kirk thing, was his connection to King James.
And that's why LeBron King James is just about to pick up his 1006-11th, right, all-time game.
Right. But he's about ready to, he's going to start the season playing his 1566, which is the year that King James was born. So it really is going back to the King James and the Bible a lot. Like, it really is. Like, the King James theme is big.
He's got a lot on that.
Yeah. So that's just a few things to keep an eye on with Jalen Hurts, and maybe the 1611 between him and Bad Bunny is the clue that he's going to go back there. I don't know.
Could be. You never know.
I'm also looking at the Colts just because, and the Chiefs again, of course. But the Colts, their coach is born in 1985, the year the Back to the Future came out. He's born, for you, Rambo, the coach for the Colts is born on May 11th, 1985. And I know when you were talking about all the Back to the Future stuff earlier this year, you talked about May 11th and you talked about the 1985. And yeah, so I'm really looking into the Colts coach because of that.
Yeah, I did a whole video I think it was titled May 11th.
Right. I'm glad I remembered to share that with you, because that was something I really noticed with the Colts coach.
Was there any?
There's so many clues with different teams. It depends what theme they're going to go with. Like, there's so many esoteric or ritual themes they could go with. It could be Back to the Future, could be this bunny thing. Well, the bunny thing is connected to, because the rabbit is associated. The rabbit hole is a portal. Back to the Future, I mean, it's just undeniable ties to the Super Bowl with Clara. Yeah, we'll see what they go.
Well, it's 1985 days from the Donnie Darko day. So I know that this is how I shared this with AJ, but if you go from the day that Donnie Darko takes place in the movie, October 2nd, 1988, and you go 1985 days later, it's Bad Bunny's birthday. Which to me just puts the connection all together. Like Bad Bunny, Back to the Future, and Donnie Darko, it kind of just brings it all together.
And the thing about Donnie Darko, there's one football reference there. For it's a brief time, they're watching television, and it's the Washington Redskins at the time is their name, because it takes place in Virginia. They're Redskin fans, and it shows Doug Williams, who won the Super Bowl in 1988 in January, but it took place in October, where the following season was not a good season, but they flashed Doug Williams here. And October 2nd is also the birthday of Mark Rippon, who was Doug Williams' backup, which in Donnie Darko, the announcer says Mark Rippon is going to come in the game. And Mark Rippon won Super Bowl 26 against the Buffalo Bills. There's so many directions it could go. And Donnie Darko was directly related to the bunny. That's a direct.
Well, that's why I'm thinking they're definitely going with just with this announcement. Just makes me feel like they're going with a Bad Bunny Donnie Darko riddle. And consider what just happened to Charlie Kirk on the birthday of the Bad Bunny and Donnie Darko, the actor. Like, so I think if there's one riddle that seems more important, yeah, they could go with any riddle. But I feel like just this happening, just him being selected, might be more confirmation that this is the more like this should be standing out somehow. And there's probably more to find, but the 1985 days between Donnie Darko and his birth, which leads us to Back to the Future, it seems pretty interesting how that fits.
The bunny lives in a burrow too. That's a consideration.
Well, a lot of people at the beginning at the Super Bowl last year, immediately, I remember Zach and everyone else was immediately as the Super Bowl was over, they were looking at Cincinnati like right away. The only problem with that is Cincinnati Burrow's hurt right now, and he may not even return.
Oh, is it that bad an injury?
They said that they're.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
They said that the only way that he would return is maybe if they do make it to the playoffs. But I think they got whooped anyway when they didn't have him the other day, didn't they?
No, backup quarterbacks don't succeed in the NFL. That's the one position which is irreplaceable, probably in all of sports. You simply cannot replace the drop-off between a starting quarterback and a backup quarterback. I don't think any sport has that. You simply cannot win with a backup quarterback. There's some exceptions.
The only one I can think of recently is Nick Foles. When the Eagles lost their start, Nick Foles came in and he ended up leading them to a Super Bowl, didn't he?
What about Rex Grossman of the Bears?
Rex Grossman. That was back when the Colts made the Super Bowl. That's against the Bears, right?
Yeah, he was with the Bears. Sexy Rexy, they called him.
But he didn't win the Super Bowl, though.
No, he was awful.
The Buffalo Bills had Frank Reich. He used to fill in for Jim Kelly. So Jim Kelly was, an all-time Hall of Famer. But Frank Reich used to fill in for Jim Kelly when he was injured for long periods, and they didn't miss a beat. So he's one of those exceptions as well. There are a few exceptions.
Well, yeah, I was going to say Joseph Aquaviva saying, well, you got Tom Brady who came off the bench.
For Drew Bledsoe,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the most famous replacement of all time, I'd say.
Yeah, but typically backup quarterbacks. So yeah, I didn't know the Burrow injury was that serious. I don't follow it that closely. I didn't know it was like a season-long thing. I didn't know. But he would have fit the bunny theme, but I guess not. Then.
Yeah. I just showed this because we've been on that Donnie Darko thing for quite some time, and sure enough, now the Bad Bunny is, coming to a headlines at the Super Bowl.
I mean, really, Rambo was all over it. I mean, he was talking about Donnie Darko and this Frank the Rabbit for so long, and then what happens? Charlie gets shot on the guy's birthday, and then Bad Bunny gets announced. I mean, how much more perfect does it get than that? Like, we got everything that we would ever expected with that.
I was on the bunny thing even before Donnie Darko. I was on the bunny thing with my whole time. I talked about the Alice in Wonderland and the bunny there. I talked about Michael Jordan, which is in the video. I'll put a link to the video with Michael Jordan when his son had that Lamborghini stuck on the train track. That's actually what got me onto Back to the Future. Back to the Future. That happened on February 4th, 19 this year. That's when Marcus Jordan's car got stuck, and the whole, you should see the police video. It's so farcical. You can't make this stuff up. But that's what got me on Back to the Future. As soon as I heard of that, like one of my patrons actually told me about it. I don't know if I even would have known about it, about the car on the train track. I said, that's Back to the Future. That's a direct reference. The car on the train track. And that's what got me on. And then when Space Jam and the bunny there and the Alice in Wonderland, the bunny's all about time. He was, I'm late. And then that's what got me on the bunny theme. And then that got me to Donnie Darko. It's also related to Donnie Darko. One of the songs in there is the Killing Moon. One of the versions, the Killing Moon, is the song that opens the movie because it was in the charts in 1988 when the movie's set. The Killing Moon is by a group from Liverpool, England, called Echo and the Bunnymen. So yeah, all that, and that ties into soccer as well. Liverpool's a soccer. Soccer's, that's the number one sports league in the world is the English Premier League. So yeah, there's so many connections. But yeah, thanks for the acknowledgement.
Yeah, Rambo, when you encouraged me to watch this movie, my heart dropped when I saw that one of Donnie's friends, talking about the year 2025, how time equals 20 and 25, and how relevant it is today, right? With like Donnie Trump, Donald Darko, etc., all the plane crash themes of this movie and how there's been so many plane crashes this year. But then to see one of his buddies dressed up as Hulk Hogan, who also died this year, I mean, it just keeps piling up. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And isn't it so you see the Superman symbolism here are very similar? So what's unique about Superman or superheroes in general? They wear their underwear on top. Their underwear supposed to be on the bottom. The superheroes wear it on top. Like, I don't know who came up with it. So Superman wears a red underwear on top. So there's a red underwear. That's kind of like a Superman symbol as well. And underwear are a theme with Mormons. The underwear are a very big part of Mormonism. I've talked about it with the U theme of the underdog and underwear. I have a whole decode on the underwear theme with the Mormon church. But yeah, so this is that underwear thing. It's very Superman-like, where the underwear is worn above your clothes on the outside. Just noticing that there with the red underwear.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah. It's a big part of Mormonism, underwear.
Yeah. I just want to lastly point out for those that haven't understood the connection with time travel and Donnie Darko and Back to the Future already, it is referenced that Rambo pointed out that Donnie even mentions a spacecraft like a DeLorean. Right? So he talks about
sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and he just says about how much he loves that movie. I just want to show that scene right there.
I was saying that, so that's in the theme, your theme song for the show, the DeLorean reference.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, how did that? Did you request the DeLorean to the AI to mention DeLorean?
So I didn't do anything. Shout out to TJ Contemporary Problems. He's the one that created that song, and he was kind enough to let me borrow.
He wrote the lyrics, didn't he?
He did. Yes.
He wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the cool part about that.
I'm sorry, I didn't give him credit. I didn't know that. I thought it was.
Oh, no, not at all. I asked him the same thing. To
be honest, those lyrics are good, man. Like, I'm not even a rap guy person, and everyone knows that. I say it all the time, but even I start headbanging to the. My heavy metal guy comes out of me because I look like somebody at a thrash metal concert. But the rap rap song really gets me going.
That's a good one.
Is he from London?
No, he's from the Canada, eh?
Oh, okay.
Canada?
Yeah.
Because I mean, some of the slang in that song is London slang. That's why I thought it's from London.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He does have a bit of an accent, but that's about all I can say.
No, yeah, those are great lyrics. I thought, like, okay, for AI, that's pretty good lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Even for AI, I was like, wow, AI has come with some good lyrics. But, okay, yeah, I mean, what's his name again?
His name's TJ.
Oh, TJ. Okay.
Yeah, and he goes by Contemporary Problems _ with the @ symbol in the front. But, yeah, I mean, he's just got a whole different, take on a lot of things, but he's very knowledgeable in all these different topics that we talk about, but he has a very interesting like humor that he just applies to it, if that makes sense. Like a lot of his content on Instagram, but it's good stuff. I've known him for a while, so
yeah,
he was kind enough once again to let us use it, because when I heard it, I was like, dude, can I use that as the intro for a little bit? He was like, sure. So that was very nice.
And Rambo, before we hang up, I got one last thing I got to add that I think you'll appreciate. On the day of the announcement of Bad Bunny being the Super Bowl, Bad Bunny himself was exactly 131 Mercury years. So think about that. You've talked about the 131, and Mercury is 88, right? This is like perfect considering what you've talked about. Like, you literally nailed it again with that. And don't forget, not only is the 131 relevant to Back to the Future, it's relevant to the Super Bowl, because Super Bowl equals 131 in basic gematria. And
so, championship.
And too. Championship. So definitely look into that one. Mercury years, I'm telling you, they're important, and that's not a coincidence that he was announced on his 131st Mercury birthday. It's not a coincidence that Charlie Kirk was shot on Trump's 329th Mercury birthday, which was 88 days after his real life birthday, Trump's. So he had, not only was it Trump's Mercury birthday, it was 88 days after his birthday this year, his actual birthday, which is a Mercury year. So it was perfect. Like, the Mercury years are so important.
Yeah, that 131 is. So yeah, so speaking of Donnie Darko, it made the one football reference when they're watching TV real briefly, and it showed Doug Williams. Well, Doug Williams in 1988, he won the Super Bowl in 1988. That Super Bowl was on January 31st. So there's kind of a little, you could call it subliminal 131 in Donnie Darko that way because of the Doug Williams. That's not just a random Super Bowl. That's a very significant Super Bowl because he was the first African American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. That's a really major Super Bowl.
You know, today would have been 131 days before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it was announced 133 days before the Super Bowl, where Bad Bunny and football both equal 133.
But we need to see what happened today in sports to see if there's any clues, because today would be 131 days before. So
yeah, good point.
You would think that there would be like an actual, like, really heavy clue being that amount of days before the Super Bowl, because that's a huge number with Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So maybe something in the baseball games today also had a connection to the Super Bowl. I mean, I know, AJ, you're every day looking into the sports, so just saying, keep an eye out. I'll look into it as well.
For sure.
It also could be soccer too. You can't leave out soccer.
Yeah.
They made Champions League games today as well. I mean, I'll try to see if I can. The Champions League is huge. That's the Super Bowl of. Well, soccer is bigger than football. That's the biggest soccer tournament is the European Champions League, because all the best players in the world, all the money's in Europe, especially in England. That's where all the best players are. And the Champions League, for those who are not familiar, it's a tournament of champions. You play your own domestic league. England has this England Championship. Italy has its league to determine the Italian Championship. The Champions League takes the best teams from all the European countries. They play a separate tournament, and that's a harder tournament because it's a tournament between all the best teams in Europe, which is all the best players in the world, because that's where all the best players in the world play. All the money's in Europe. The Champions League is actually the biggest tournament, and some players will not admit it because they don't want to offend their countrymen. They'd rather win that than the World Cup. The Champions League is actually bigger than the World Cup. But so there were some Champions League games today. And now that I think of it, could be a clue. I'll just see if I can come up with something. I don't know if I will, but Champions League might be connected too.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's anything in the games today. I bet you there's something somewhere.
Yeah, because Echo and the Bunnymen, whose song started Donnie Darko, they're from Liverpool, which is known for its music.
Yeah.
Liverpool played today, and they suffered a big upset.
Oh, really?
Upset. Yeah, they're supposed to be the super team. That's Echo and the Bunnymen's. I've done stuff on Echo and the Bunnymen and their connection to. I did it when I was on with the Occult Rejects. I talked about Echo and the Bunnymen, and I forgot her name, but she talked about how the Bunnyman is actually the Bunnyman is a legend from the DC area.
Right.
Yeah, so they're part of Donnie Darko. Their name is Bunnyman. I think that Liverpool game, now that I think of it, that's the one off the top of my head is the most connected. And they played in Turkey. They played the Turkish champion, Galatasaray, and they suffered a huge upset.
Really?
Yeah.
Turkey, huh?
Yeah, in Turkey, yeah. In Istanbul. Galatasaray is the name of the team. That's a big upset. And it's Liverpool, and that's...
Well, Turkey, the Turkey is like kind of like the location of a lot of the old biblical places. The Church of Philadelphia, right, is in Turkey. So
no,
maybe
Church of Philadelphia is now the capital of Amman, Jordan.
Oh,
it's in Jordan. It's the capital of Jordan. So there's the Jordan connection. Yeah.
No, I think there was something. Maybe I got that wrong, but there was something else that when that Turkey earthquake happened a few years ago, I remember looking into it, and there was something there where I just know there is a lot of places in Turkey that are connected to the biblical places,
Yeah,
It's
so
probably not.
yeah.
Yeah, go
Turkey
ahead.
is where they had the Council of Nicaea. That's considered the big moment in history when the Roman Empire adopted Christianity.
Yeah.
It was the Council of Nicaea. Nicaea is in Turkey. That's the biggest connection of Turkey to Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah, under Constantine.
Huh.
And there's another council of Constantinople, which kind of further embedded Christianity into the Roman Empire. So that's Turkey's biggest connection to Christianity by far. I mean, it's a Muslim country now, but by far, the Council of Nicaea is the biggest. That's when Rome became Christian, in 325, the year 325.
Yeah, I was just kind of pulling up this team, but I mean, we can get off. But this team was founded October 1st. This team that beat them.
Oh, Galatasaray. Okay, that's that's a good.
So
one.
that's tomorrow. But tomorrow, if you would do a span of days, it would still be 131 days before the Super Bowl as well. This team.
Well, okay, so there's something there then.
Their founding date would be also 131. I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, we can look, but that's already seeming like there's definitely something there.
Now, Liverpool has a direct connection to the Bunny and Donnie Darko through Echo and the Bunnymen. Their song was "The Killing Moon."
Oh my! The
Yeah.
full gematria of this team is going back to my 262 stuff. Wow!
Do you want to pull up your screen, Cody?
I mean, I know you guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about fully unless you've seen my videos and remember them fully, because it's. I know I've released a lot of information, but look at the full gematria 262. This is the number I was talking about in connection to the Super Bowl. I had found a whole timeline connected to this number in the Super Bowl with the XRP stuff I was doing and the new financials, like all this stuff. Remember, Brock Purdy, also connecting to San Francisco. Brock Purdy was, what's 131 plus 131? It'd be 262, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's right?
Yep.
Ah, well, there's something for sure then, because 262 is Brock Purdy's draft number, and of course he's the quarterback for San Francisco, and that's what the Super Bowl is going to be. But I had to go back and get my timeline, because all the 26. Remember when Malcolm Jamal Warner died, and all those 3 string of deaths, I had done a perfect timeline connecting Malcolm Jamal Warner to Robert Redford, right? And what happens in Robert Redford's movie Sneakers, where they hack into the Federal Reserve, they see XRP 262. They see the code XRP 262. And when you type in XRP cryptocurrency, it equals 262. And then I had found how it all, like, if you measure to I can't even remember what dates, but if you take from the movie, a lot of it aligns to the Super Bowl with these 262 connections, like if you do date durations. So, and what also happened today was the guy who created the XRP ledger stepped down. So,
Oh, really?
and it was surprising. It surprised everyone, because he's like the origin of it. So I'm telling you that it's connected to that too. I mean, there's obviously other connections, but I can already see that it's because Turkey, right? Key, like the key. So I don't know. I just feel like, man, in the 73, I also talked about, because that was a number I talked about in connection to Clara. It'll be her 73rd birthday. The actress who plays Clara Clayton, it will be her 73rd birthday.
Yeah, and Back to the Future was released on
7/3.
July 3rd. Yeah,
which was the car crash of
the Liverpool player.
Right, exactly.
Diogo Jota.
There you go. So we're already connecting the pieces.
And
So
then
Liverpool,
the
yeah. So
movie
this
did
game,
her.
it looks like this game that's the key sports game
Yeah, this
connected
game.
to the Super Bowl somehow. So we got to see how this ties into the Super Bowl. But it does seem this is the game that's most connected.
Was it the
I'll have
same character in Back to the Future, Rambo, Clara Clayton, that takes the train ride to San Francisco?
Yeah, she buys a ticket.
Is that right?
So she asks the ticket agent, where's I I think he asked him where the train is going or something. He says San Francisco is the final stop. End of the line. It's not. San Francisco is the end of the line.
I already see connections. Look at this, guys. Okay, you see the logo, SG, right? S is the 19 letter, G is the 7, 197. That's essentially the gold. The element gold has a weight of 197, like the Golden Gate. Has the same colors as San Francisco, essentially, gold and red. So that's what I see just in the logo right away. Look, yeah, October 1st, 19, is that 1905?
Yeah, 1905, 119 years ago. So it'll be 110.
Well, I don't know if it might have updated on my computer, because on my computer it already shows 10-1. So I don't know if it's is that right?
Well, yeah, because you guys are East Coast, so technically it's October 1st your time now, right?
Let me just make sure, because I'm too tired to do it in my head. No, it's the 120 year. If you go to 1905. So look, it's 1440, man.
So
that's a time riddle.
So in other words, it's also going into its 121st year of existence, right? And this is the 121st World Series.
Yeah. Good point. So, and 121 is a number in Back to the Future, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the 14, look at that. I mean, it's real close. Look at if you measure the amount of weeks from their founding to today, it's 62613. So I don't know, it's pretty close. But the 1440 stands out because
it's huge.
The 1440 is how many minutes is in a day.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yep.
And the 120, Jason from Archaics, if you guys are familiar with Archaics, I think his info is amazing, to be honest, but he's like figured out the actual timelines of humanity, but he always talks about how the foundation number is 120. But this is also, I'm not sure why he says that. I need to go back and watch his video, but he talks about this number being the foundation number of foundation. But that's like, might have to do with the time stuff too, because he's big about the number 144, because he goes off of Bactans, which is the Mayan long count, and he says that the 2012 date was wrong because they didn't calculate it right. They had to do the right calculations. The actual end of the world that they were thinking in 2012 actually happens in 2046. But like, yeah, so I can't repeat his info. It's way too complicated, but yeah. And another thing I can see here is the 274, and I just connected this to Ripple XRP. And I know that in Gematria, Ripple equals 274. This is just off the top of my head. And think about it, ripples in time, right? Ripples in time. And they're founded on the 274 day of the year. That's why I'm bringing it up. Do they usually go by this name, or they just go by Galatasaray?
Galatasaray. That's what.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, Galatasaray.
Oh, look at that.
106. Wow.
Are you? Oh my gosh! Look at this. Look at this, guys. Look at this. You see the 1132? Let me show you.
Wow.
All right, now that's not even it. How many days? How many days do you think Snake Eyes came out before 9/11? The actual 9/11. It's that amount of days.
Oh, I
the movie Snake Eyes came out 1132 days before 9/11.
Wow.
And you guys remember how he talked about Christian Kirk and Charlie Kirk? Guess how many days those two characters are born apart? Yep, you guessed it, 1132. So I know there's something there.
Oh, definitely.
Remember when we were doing this live? This is one of the ones we were doing live last week, AJ, and I couldn't remember what it was. Well, I figured it out. I just never shared it with you yet. But this 1132 was something I kept noticing.
Well, if you think about it, the 1132 could represent how he was 31, the 11th prime, moving into, or meaning he was carrying out his 32nd year of life. No? Did I get that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So the 1132, you know what I mean, kind of coincides with that.
And they just
when you cut it in half is all I'm saying.
Yeah. So how about that? Like, wow. There was another one. It also had the Galatasaray had, how do you say that? But
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray. Okay.
Yep.
So notice the 106, which is this is the 106 season. And the 191 is also assassination. Just type in assassination equals 191, same cipher.
Yeah, man, exactly. And don't forget about Charlie Kirk's connection to the Pope, because the Pope is from Chicago, just like Charlie Kirk, right? The new Pope.
Right.
And what's very interesting is that Arizona and Pope Leo have a very, very strong overlap in the base ciphers. Don't forget that he was a cardinal before he became Pope, right?
Right.
So just a lot of overlap there about how and why Charlie Kirk connects directly to the Pope.
They play in Rams. They play in Rams Park.
Rams Park.
Is that a Rams riddle?
Well, who's that? Galatasaray?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the name of this team.
What are they? The Lions too? It says, is that what their nickname is?
It's the mascot is a lion. I didn't know that. They don't really.
But it says their nickname is Arufati, and it's the Conqueror of Europe.
That crest at the top looks more like a snake to me.
I mean, there's definitely snake symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, S is
snake symbol.
The reason that's actually how they came up with the letter S, because there's a time when there was no alphabet. I don't know. Again, it's not the English alphabet, so I don't know how it coincides with English. Maybe it just coincides. With snakes' hiss, they make that sound, and that's their shape. So it makes sense why somebody would say, for the sound, let me put a symbol that looks like a snake.
Right.
But then again, this alphabet wasn't invented by English, so I don't know how you say snake in what is it, Phoenician or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just an interesting coincidence that that hiss sound is the snake sound, and the symbol looks like a snake. But
yeah. But they, for some, I don't know what this means, but apparently they say that their nickname is the Conqueror of Europe. And I just took out the, which it does equal 227. I don't know how much that means, but it does equal 227 and 101.
I don't see where it says. I see nicknames. It says the Lions. All I see is the Lions.
Yeah, mine says the Lions and then the Yellow Reds. And then the Conqueror of Europe. Those are the three it gives me here.
Kind of looks like Commanders colors too.
Yeah,
and the Commanders are part of Donnie Darko.
That's closer.
Yeah.
Those colors are closer to the Commanders' colors. I think if you put them in like a color reader, you'd probably get a closer match to the closest match would definitely be the team with, yeah. But doesn't there another like old jersey, like a throwback jersey one of the teams wears that kind of has these colors too?
One of which teams?
One of the NFL teams that I think one of their throwback jerseys has this. It's not the Redskins either. Or the Commanders. It's like it's another team, but I don't know which team it would be. I just remember looking at another team that has like a throwback uni that has these colors, similar. But we'd have to try to find that. But this is definitely a huge clue for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, those are amazing connections you made.
Rams Park has really got me thinking too. I mean, there's a team called the Rams.
That's true. I'm trying to see really quick what date it is 49 days before the Super Bowl, because the February 8th date connects back to the 2/8 with Donnie Darko as well. 28 days remaining. You know what I mean?
Right. The yellow reds kind of makes me think of a Russian thing. Well, look at this. The yellow reds equals 1026. This was like a huge number that me and Derek talked about because of the 1026 date is the Back to the Future date, you know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the 1080 is interesting because that is a what is that? The moon that has a golden gate. I think Golden Gate also equals 1080. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I'm seeing here right off the bat. If this is their nickname, the Yellow Reds, apparently. Donnie Darko also released on 1026. That's the other big connection with Back to the Future, yeah. Because Donnie Darko released on 1026, and then the travel date was 1026 in the movie. So that's the clear connection.
Yeah, they did that intentionally, Donnie Darko. It was done consciously.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of an indirect 101. So the score was 1-0. Galatasaray defeated Liverpool. But the goal scorer from Nigeria, the Nigerian Independence Day is October 1st. That's kind of it's indirect, but still, Nigerian Independence Day, it's the same as the founding date of the team. He's like their biggest star. Like, they had to break the bank to keep him there.
What's his number?
Is it 9? He's a striker, Victor Osimhen. What is his jersey number? Oh, he wears 45. Yeah, yeah. 45. This is a real unusual, very unique for a soccer player to wear 45.
Victor Osimhen. He's the Victor.
There's an O again, a lot of O's. With the head coach is an O. I'm not sure how many people will find this part interesting. Maybe we can sign off and talk about this.
Oh yeah, I just forgot we're live. I forgot we're live, man. Sorry, guys.
People, yeah, I don't know how many people find this interesting. I'm sure some would, but
Okay.
forgot we're live.
I don't know how many people like it, but we're literally decoding on the fly like we would be in the background. So I don't know. What
There's a comment there who is. Yeah, it is. It's like it's almost like our remember our decode on that Frank the Rabbit connection to the Detroit Pistons and the blood coming out of his right eye.
Yep. That one we should have definitely done live.
That was a
People
classic.
would have been mind blown.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah,
But this is kind of still connected to that, you know. We're still on the same theme, really.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko won't go away. Darko Milicic. That was a cherry on top of Darko Milicic. I mean, that was.
Yeah, one draft behind LeBron. LeBron's the one that elbowed the guy in the face. It was in Detroit, right? And then shout out KODI. That's when we were talking about the actor who plays Frank the Bunny. And his birthday is September 9th, the date that the Charlie Kirk news took place.
Yeah, that was perfect. Like, and then now here we are. Why did I even bring this up to begin with? It was because of the Back to the Future bunny riddle with Bad Bunny.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
We're going down a rabbit hole right now, aren't we?
Perfect.
Sure. Yeah, we're trying to figure out what sporting event lines up with the Super Bowl today.
Look at his middle name too, Victor James. He's got the same middle name as both Charlie Kirk and the shooter, because their middle names were both James. LeBron James, right? LeBron James, he played for the Cavaliers, which has the same colors as this team.
Right.
Because if you look at the colors for his team, they're literally like almost the same shade, even the yellow and the red.
And Trump is connected to Cleveland because of Grover Cleveland.
Look,
right.
He's born one day before LeBron, this guy.
Oh, wow.
And 1998, when did Snake Eyes come out? I mean, can I keep going here?
Yeah, Quantum says, keep going, keep going.
106, of course.
There's
like
your
the
106.
Like the 106th season, the NFL. 218. Turning Point USA.
Yeah, shout out Joseph. Yeah, that's a great find, brother. Snake Eyes Assassin is Rabat. Is that the character's name? I forget.
Yeah, Ben Rabat. His name is Ben Rabat. Yeah.
Yeah, Rabat. Yeah, that's a good one.
So anyway, what was that guy's name again? Victor James Osimhen equals Turning Point USA. The 73 again.
Yeah.
Victor Osimhen. I mean, Victor, just thinking like the victory.
I'm wondering how fixed this game might have been, because the controversy in this game, Liverpool benched their best player. He's not just their best player. He's one of the best players in the history of the Premier League, Mohamed Salah. Everybody's shocked to see him on the bench. Why was he on the bench? I mean, I was preparing for the show and stuff, so I don't know what the post-game comments are. But I just took a kind of brief look at the scores and stuff, and I saw that he was on the bench. Kind of looks suspicious to me. That's inexplicable to me. I mean, unless there is some, I don't know. I'm suspicious about it. This could have been a fixed result, which kind of makes me think that even more relevant for the Super Bowl if they're consciously manipulating the upset. But their best player, who's one of the best players in history, was on the bench for whatever reason. They brought him on later in the game.
Oh my goodness, look at this. So this guy's born 144 days after Snake Eyes came out. Because he's born the same year. So that means he's born 144 days after Jalen Hurts as well. Because Jalen Hurts was born on that same day.
And so he plays. Victor Osimhen is from Nigeria, the Nigerian national team, because they have the eagle as their national emblem. They're called the Green Eagles. That's literally the nickname of the Nigerian national soccer team. They're called the Green Eagles, which lines up with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles, the green. Who are the Green Eagles in the United States? It's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another synchronicity.
I mean, like I said, just putting all that together, their logo looks like the snake and the S, right? And then this guy's born the same year Snake Eyes came out. His name equals Turning Point USA in one cipher. Born 144 days after Snake Eyes came out. And then the team was 1440 exactly on their upset.
Yeah, that 1440 is huge.
Where he scored the only goal also. But I didn't check to see trying to think.
All right.
Just go back to 1900. Let's see. Let's just for 1905, October 1st was the founding date. The Great Earthquake happened in 1906. So I just want to in San Francisco. So okay.
617, the 113th prime, right? 199 days, 46th.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
It could be like, the 199, of course, is the 46 prime. But that leads us back to the 1217, which could connect to Pope Francis, because the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is all connected to Pope Francis.
Right.
But also seeing the 618, the 618 is interesting. That's the golden ratio. I've connected the Golden Gate Bridge to the golden ratio many times. But yeah, I mean, it probably has some sort of connection with that, because that's when I saw 1905, I was like, well, that's not far off from the Great San Francisco earthquake. And of course, we're connecting this to San Francisco. And the reason I always thought this is because if you think about it. SF, SG, it's one off, right? You're going from the F to the G. the logo for this team is SG, right? Which is one more than the SF. And the SF is the 196, right? S is the 19, and G is, or F is the 6. So 196. That's the weight of gold on the periodic table. But if you round it up, gold's weight can also be 197, which is also the SG, right? Which is the logo of this team. And then you have the 618, which is the golden ratio. So, and of course, the 196 is King James' real birthday, which is my birthday. That's why I'm always thinking about the 196 and the 619, because that's my birthday. So, like, it'd be interesting if it was 201 days. But I think the 618 is the best thing I can see there. Welcome back, Sue. Okay, so I hope that everyone in the chat is not expecting us to show like actual stuff. We're just like literally on the fly decoding this. So
Yeah, and we are closing in about almost 3 hours from now, so we should probably wrap it up soon.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut it short, but I got an early morning myself, and
Now,
as we know, this goes on. But
for an interesting thing with Osimhen as well is he's been wearing a Batman mask. You can see him in the Batman mask there.
okay,
You see where he's wearing? So he's actually known for the Batman mask. So that's a Batman. Now that's another element here that we're talking about. He's Batman. Victor Osimhen is Batman.
right.
And the thing about the Batman mask, he doesn't need to wear it. So he did have a cheekbone fracture, I think it was. But once it was healed, he didn't need the mask anymore. But
So now it's precautionary.
No, it's not cautionary. It's all symbolic. Of course, I'm not gonna say it's symbolic, but it's obviously symbolic because he doesn't need it. They even had his doctor who did the surgery come out and say they cleared him. You don't need it anymore. You don't need protection anymore. This is for several years now. They've had him wear it.
Right.
It's entirely symbolic. He's Batman as well. So Batman is part of this as well. Victor Osimhen is Batman.
Well, and then look at this. I mean, this guy, he's got his last name equals 106, his full name equals 106, his team equals 106. So, I mean, Super Bowl and the 106 NFL season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
the Batman thing is clear with what he's wearing there.
Yeah, because it's not necessary. So they're making him do it, obviously, for the symbol. There's no other reason other than symbolism. Like, nobody wants that on their face. He's been told he has to do it. I mean, if you want to make the big bucks and be in the spotlight and get the glory, you know how it is. So you sign you're part of the club. You do what they tell you. They tell you, wear the Batman mask. And so he wears the Batman mask.
and if you think about the Batman signal up in the sky, it's a lot like the moon or a big circle, right? So it goes back to that circle symbolism.
Yeah, his name is O. He's an O, Osimhen.
Right, exactly.
I mean, their logo is like they've got the circle here, right here with the moon inside, and their logo even kind of, I know it's an oval, but I mean.
Yeah, that's the Turkish flag. What they have on his chest there?
Yeah.
That's the Turkish flag.
Yeah.
That's the crescent moon. Some people say that's actually Venus. That's actually the pentagram. But yeah, it's Venus and the moon, or they could both be Venus symbols.
I mean, this is clearly like the colors. It's like
the Commanders.
Yeah, and I was thinking Cleveland too. Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm just thinking that because his middle name is even James. And what team does LeBron James have partial ownership of?
Liverpool.
Oh, so the team they beat, of course.
Yeah. So that was a good.
I didn't even know that the whole time. I didn't know it was Liverpool that he had.
Yeah, he owns 3%, and it's the value of his stock has skyrocketed since because his management. He's managed by Fenway Sports. Fenway Sports Group. They own the Boston Red Sox, and they own Liverpool, and so that's where they gave him the 3%. So yeah, LeBron James, he owns Liverpool. Yeah, so yeah, that's a great connection. LeBron James.
Yeah. I mean, this is the color of their logo here, but when their actual uniforms are, I mean, what I remember, they're way closer to the colors, right? Like,
Yeah.
and look, doesn't he wear 45? Their best player wears 45
Yeah,
too.
Victor Osimhen wears 45. Yeah.
Isn't this their best player? What's his name again? This guy?
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Is it Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, that's Donovan Mitchell, yeah.
Oh, 45. Yeah, that's a great connection. Oh, wow. You're making it
I don't know why. I should be tired and like completely out of it, but for some reason it just
no, these will wake you up. Yeah, this stimulates your mind. It's going in. You'll be exhausted afterwards. But...
Yeah, I think I need some like cereal or something. I've been on a cereal kick since I got home. I went like 2.5 years without eating cereal. My mom got me this wheat brand. It's not like an unhealthy cereal because I'm real healthy what I eat, but this is like a more like whole wheat, healthier cereal with raisins in it, no sugar added. I love it. But anyways,
yeah, I think we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I see the Cavs, I think of Kevin Love, who wears number 0, and like Rambo reiterated, 0 is love in tennis, right? I still think look out for Oscar Robertson, the Big O, right?
Yeah.
Former NBA legend. So I'll kind of leave it there. But yeah, Rambo, Cody, always great to collab with you guys every week. Rambo, Codes, make sure to let everyone know where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, I'm at the patreon.com/thetruthcodes and instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
Awesome. Cody, close this out, man.
And here, I'll just leave this out, but you can find me at Decoding with Cody, which a lot of you are watching on right now anyways. So, but yeah, you can find me on Decoding with Cody on YouTube, and support for the channel can be made at www.buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. And don't forget to go support our boy AJ over at Balll Don't Lie with 3 L's. Because it sounds like you're about out of it.
I am, yeah. I'm starting to lose it. My eyes are closing. Finally, I've told you I'm having trouble sleeping. So
yeah,
got to take advantage while I can, you know?
Yeah, definitely. If you're tired, get some sleep, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, all right, guys, without further ado, we will close it out there. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Yeah, and then, bruv. Yeah, you bruv. Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck